Hey folks, today's classic game is Game 7 of the 1973 World Series, featuring the upstart New York Mets versus the reigning champion Oakland A's. The Mets are starting John Matlock, who despite his 14-16 regular season record in 3 playoff starts, he has yet to give up an earned run. The A's are countering with Ken Holtzman. Holtzman, other than his awful Game 4 start, has been great as well, getting the win in Game 1, but he was hit hard in Game 4 and didn't make it out of the first. Mr. October, Reggie Jackson, is starting to earn his future nickname in the series as well, as he has 8 hits and 24 bats coming into this 7th game. At the end of the series, it's also going to mark the end of Willie Mays' brilliant career. And I'm going to send you off to listen to this amazing game with a quick pre-game message. Enjoy, folks. What if you could own a part of history? What if you could be part of history? Whether you're 9 months old or 90, This Day in Baseball has something for you. This Day in Baseball offers unique clothing items with iconic opportunities to sponsor player pages like Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Sandy Koufax, any game, season, or ballpark in baseball history. You can join our podcast, our special videos, and much more. This Day in Baseball allows you to be a proud sponsor of history of your favorite players, places, teams, and events, which allows us to fulfill the mission to bring baseball history back to life in many various forms. We provide you the chance to be part of history, and we recreate it. Want to see how? Go to thisdayinbaseball.com and click on the Patreon link in the menu bar. If you're familiar with Patreon, go to patreon.com/thisdayinbaseball and you can become part of baseball history today.
Defensively, first, Green at second, Campaneris at short, Bando at third, Rudy out at left, Jackson in center, Lou at right, Gene Tenace behind the plate. Ken Holtzman, the pitcher. Garrett is stepping in, and stepping up for the 7th game of the World Series is Ralph Carter.
Thank you very much, Jim Simpson, and Wayne Garrett in the batter's box. Wayne batting 200 for the World Series with 5 hits and 25 times up. He's had 2 home runs, the only player to have 2 in the World Series. And here's the World Series. And here's the first pitch. It's a called strike. Ken Holtzman, 21-13 in the regular season. 16 complete games. He had 4 shutouts, pitched 297 innings, gave up 275 base hits, walked 66, 157. Here's a pitch back to the plate. It's a curveball outside and low, and now the windup. The pitch to Garrett, swung on. A fastball foul back out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Garrett was 16 home runs in the regular season, batted .256. He had 58 runs batted in. Left-hand batter. Leading off here for the New York Mets. The 7th game is underway. Pitch back by Holtzman. A curveball. Strike 3 call. This is Holtzman's 3rd ball game, his 3rd start, and that was his 3rd strikeout in the World Series. That brings up Felix Millan, who batted .290 in the overall season with 3 home runs, 37 runs batted in. Millan batting .179 for the World Series, 5 hits and 28 times up. Millan, a right-hand batter, chokes up in the bat about 12 inches, takes the call strike. As you can tell, this crowd here is very loud, very enthusiastic. A plus factor for the Oakland A's. Holtzman, with a lifetime record of 114 wins, comes back, and a fastball is grounded foul over toward the A's dugout. Strike 2 count. Lifetime against the Mets. Holtzman, while pitching for the Chicago Cubs, won 4 and lost 9. Not counting his 1-1 record here in the World Series against the Mets. 2-strike count. The sign goes out. Gene Tenace, the catcher, and the pitch to Millan is hit foul down the third base side. Ball off of Millan's foot, and the count holds at strike 2. No team has won back-to-back World Series since the Yankees did it in 1961 and 62. A's trying to accomplish that feat here today. Millan back in the batter's box. Stands very close to the plate, leans over the plate. Holtzman into the windup, and again the two-strike pitch. A ground ball hit out to short, fielded by Campaneris. The throw to the out. Two men away, and Rusty Staub coming up. Staub, the leading hitter in the World Series. He has 9 base hits and 22 times up, batting .409. He has driven in 5 runs in the series, and 3 of them off Ken Holtzman with a 3-run home run at Shea Stadium. Staub, a left-hand batter, hit .279 in the overall season with 15 home runs and 76 runs batted in. And Holtzman into the windup, and here's his first pitch to Staub. It's popped up into left center field. Moving over is Reggie Jackson. He makes the call, and the catcher decides retired in order. And the score at the end of
5 starts has given up only 1 earned run and 40 innings of pitching. That is quite some record. He is 1-1 here in this World Series, and yet in all of the innings that he has pitched 14, he has not given up an earned run in the World Series. Don Miller, the first baseman, Felix Millan at second, Bud Harrelson having a great series, as is Campaneris of Oakland at shortstop. Wayne Garrett, the third baseman, Leon Jones out in left, Don Hahn in center, Rusty Staub in right. Gary Grote behind the plate has just thrown the ball down to Millan. Don Matlock gets a last word or two from Don Miller, the first baseman, who drops over to the mound. Now goes back, Campaneris steps in, and here again is Ralph.
Thank you, Jim. And John Matlock, who was hit by a line drive back on May the 8th and suffered a fractured skull, gets set to go. He was out 11 days, came back, and since then has pitched marvelous baseball for the New York Mets. Bert Campaneris, the batter, hitting .222 for the series, 6 hits and 27 times up. Mets have their first baseman and third baseman in, and the first pitch of fastball. It's swung on the Mets, strike 1. Matlock pitched a 2-hit shutout against the Cincinnati Reds in the championship series. Now the left-hander back again, and the pitch is It's in for a call strike, a curveball at the knees. Campaneris did not like the call by Marty Springstead. In the regular season, Campaneris batted .250 with 4 home runs and 46 runs batted in. Had 34 stolen bases in 44 tries. Now Campaneris back in the batter's box after his discussion with the home plate umpire. 2-strike count, Matlock into the windup. Here's the pitch. It is grounded foul out by the third base coach, Irv Norn, and the count holds at strike 2. Matlock pitched 3 shutouts in the regular season, had 14 complete games, worked 242 innings, gave up 210 hits, walked 99, struck out 205. And again, the 2-strike pitch, a breaking ball, but it's high and away. 1-2. Jerry Adair, the first base coach for the Oakland A's, along with Irv Norn, the third base coach. And Matlock into the windup, and the 1-2 delivery. It is hit down toward third base. Garrett has it. The throw to first base in time, and Campaneris is out. That'll bring up Joe Rudy. Rudy, batting .292, has been a fielding sensation for Oakland in this World Series. He has driven in 3 runs with 7 base hits and 24 times up. No score. 1 away, bottom half of the first. Rudy, a right-hand batter, hit .270 in the regular season with 12 home runs and 66 runs batted in. And Matlock into the windup. His first pitch to Rudy is down low. It's ball 1. Matlock working on 3 days rest. In the course of the regular season, the Met pitcher is normally working every 5th day on 4 days rest. Matlock worked 8 innings at Shea Stadium in a game won by the Mets 6-1 back on Wednesday evening. Ball that was thrown back to Matlock by Grote got away, so a little bit of delay as it comes back to the mound. The 1-0 pitch, and it's a breaking ball high. 2 balls, no strikes. Rudy being played by the shortstop, Bud Harrelson, in the hole at short, a wide area through the middle, wide open. Matlock reading the signs from Grody. Now goes into the short windup, and his next delivery to the plate is outside and low, and it's 3-0. On deck batter, Sal Bando. 3 balls, no strike. Lifetime, Matlock has won 29, lost 29, was Rookie of the Year last year when he won 15 and lost 10. And the 3-0 delivery. It's 4, all 4. So the A's have the first base runner of the ball game. As Rudy walks on 4 pitches, it brings up Sal Bando. That is the 5th walk in 3 starts for Matlock in this World Series. Bando with 6 hits and 22 times up, batting .273 in the series, batted .288 in the regular season. 29 home runs, 97 runs batted in. And Matlock from the set position. First pitch to Bando. Fastball outside. That's 5 in a row out of the strike zone, and that gets Grody's attention. The catcher walks out to the mound. Jerry Grody talking to his pitcher, John Matlock. It's 3:30 down each line here in the Oakland Coliseum, 375 in the alley. Breeze blowing on a sunshiny day. Now Grody back behind home plate. The signs go out. Matlock again to the set position. And the pitch. It is in over the inside corner, called strike 1-1. When the A's got their 2 unearned runs off Matlock in the first game of this series, it started with a walk to Dick Green. 1 ball, 1 strike. And the next pitch. It is inside and low, 2-1. After the walk to Dick Green, Green was out on a ball that got away from Grody when he tried to go down to second base. A fine throw by Grody. Throw him out at second. Here's the pitch back. It's swung on and fouled. Back out of play. 2-2. Then Ken Holtzman with 2 men out, doubled on the left field line. His first hit all season long. He was only up 2 times all year with the designated hitter rule in the American League. An error by Felix Millan allowing a run to score, and then when Campaneris, safe on the error, was picked off, he got to second base with a stolen base on a late throw. And then a single by Rudy. There's a ground ball foul for the second run. And Matlock was the losing pitcher in that first ball game. 2-2 the count. Bando back to get another bat as he broke his bat on the foul ball. Mets playing Bando deep and straight away. Rudy, the runner at first base, had no stolen bases in the regular season, no attempts. Has a short lead. Matlock now again to the set position, and the 2-2 pitch. It is fouled down the right field side, back into the stands, out of play. The Oakland Coliseum has a lot of foul area. Stands curving away to the north, away from first base and third base. So the foul area about as large as any park in Major League Baseball, maybe larger. Throw to first base, and Rudy's chased back. Two balls, 2 strikes. Again, Matlock sets up. And his next pitch. It is fouled off. The count holds at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Only the first game of this World Series where there has not been a sellout crowd. First game, 46,021 attending here at Oakland Coliseum. Capacity crowd is 49,333. Again, Matlock reads the signs from Jerry Grody. Again, he sets up, and here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, and Matlock gets his first strikeout as he throws a fastball by Staub. 2 men away, it brings up Reggie Jackson. Jackson has had 8 base hits and 25 times up, batting .320. Drove in 2 runs in yesterday's ball game, scored the other. Jackson has had 5 base hits off the Met relief pitcher, Tug McGraw. Jackson in the regular season batted .293 with 32 home runs, 117 runs batted in. And Matlock with his first pitch, a check swing ground ball out toward third base. Fielded by Garrett, he quickly throws over to first base for the out that retires the side. No runs, no hits, a walk, and 1 man left. And the score at the end of 1, the Mets nothing, Oakland nothing.
Scoreless here after 1 in Game 7 of the World, the deciding game. Ken Holtzman, who dispatched Garrett, Millan, and Staub in short order in the top of the first, now will face Jones, Milner, and Grody as we begin the second. And here's Ralph.
Leon Jones batting .320 for the series with 8 base hits, 25 times up. He's driven in 1 run. That was on a home run. Jones in the regular season batted .260 with 11 home runs and 48 runs batted in. Holtzman, in pitching to 3 batters in the first inning, struck out 1. Striking out Wayne Garrett, getting Felix Millan to ground to short, and Rusty Staub to fly to center field. First pitch to Cleon Jones. It's hit to deep center field. Moving back is Reggie Jackson. He's back to the warning track, and he turns to get under the ball and makes the catch. Deep fly ball to straightaway center field for the out. One pitch, 1 away. It brings up John Milner. Milner having a good series in his second year in professional baseball, batting .333 for the series, 8 base hits and 24 times up. Left-hand batter played as a pull hitter by the Oakland team, and Milner squares around in bunting position, takes a pitch inside a ball. Milner decoying the bunt. He led the club in home runs with 23 and had 72 runs batted in while hitting .239 for the year. Pitch back to Milner. He takes the fastball. It is inside. 2 balls, no strikes. Ken Holtzman, 21-13 in the regular season, and the left-hander with his next pitch. It is hit in the air to shallow right field. Going back is Dick Green, the second baseman. He's making the call and has a little bit of trouble with the ball at the last minute, but makes the catch. 5 in a row for Ken Holtzman. It brings up the catcher, Jerry Grody. Grody hitting .269 for the series, 7 base hits, 26 times up. No, it's a ball game. 2 men out. We're in the top of the second. Mets have yet to have a base runner, as Holtzman has retired 5 in a row, and Grody steps into the batter's box. Grody, a right-hand batter. The pitch to the plate is fouled off back into the stands on the first base side, strike 1. Last year, Ken Holtzman won 19 and lost 11 for Oakland. And the 1-strike delivery. It is inside, 1-1. A's pitchers have a combined earned run average against the Mets at 2.53. The Mets have had a combined ERA of 1.74 against Oakland. Here's a pitch back for a ball. 2-1 the count. Grody missing 60 days of the regular season when he was hit by a pitch ball and had his wrist broken. And the 2-1 delivery. Line to center field. Coming up is Reggie Jackson, and he tries to shoestring it, makes a diving catch. A fine play by Reggie Jackson. That retires the side. Another 1-2-3 inning on the sensational catch by Jackson, and the score at the end of 1.5 innings, the Mets nothing, Oakland nothing.
Nobody likes to look at underarm folding stains, but they're a real problem. You use an antiperspirant and you still get stains that won't wash out. Well, start using the first anti-stain antiperspirant by Right Guard. Right Guard Powder Dry. It's so effective it helps stop wetness and stains. Try it and see for yourself. Right Guard Powder Dry Antiperspirant. It's the first anti-stain antiperspirant by Right Guard. The second inning will have Tenace, Salou, and Johnson. Darren Johnson, for the second day in a row, designated hitter throughout most of the season for the Oakland A's, but for the second day in a row, is in the lineup. Starting at first base as Dick Williams looks for a little bit more punch. We are scoreless. We go to the last of the second. And the World Series hero of a year ago, Gene Tenace, steps in. Here's Robert.
Okay, Jim, and Gene Tenace in this series has had 3 hits and 18 times up, batting .167, right-hand batter. And on the mound, it's John Matlock. His first pitch. It is in for a called strike. On that catch by Reggie Jackson that ended the inning, Jackson misjudged the ball at the beginning and then came in to make the sensational diving catch. Next pitch back to the plate is low. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Jerry Grody, robbed of a base hit, was robbed in the first game of this series. It saw Oakland win by a score of 2-1. Jackson making a great catch to save the ball game. That came in the 4th inning. Here's the pitch back. It's called a strike. 1-2. Tenace in the regular season batted .288 with 24 home runs and 84 runs batted in. He's had 2 runs batted in this series. Matlock, looking for the signs, now has them. Goes into the windup. The 1-2 delivery. It is just inside, 2-2. Matlock normally pitches with a pretty fast cadence. Right here in this game, he's slowed down some. Pressure of the 7th game of the World Series. The pitch back to the plate. It is low, just low. It's ball 3. Full count to Gene Tenace. Jesus Salou, the on-deck batter. And here's the 3-2 pitch. It is over. Strike 3 called. Matlock gets his second strikeout. Came back with a breaking ball that was over the outside corner. His second strikeout away in the bottom of the second. No score, and the batter coming up is Jesus Salou. Salou playing in right field in last year's World Series. In the 7th game, it was Matty Alou who was playing right field. Oakland has had all 3 Alou brothers playing on their team at one time or the other. Felipe, Matty, and now Jesus. Alou has had 3 hits and 18 times up. He swings and misses the first pitch. One time in the Polo Grounds against the New York Mets, it was Jesus Alou, Matty Alou, and Felipe Alou who batted in order and were retired 1, 2, 3. The only time in the history of baseball that 3 brothers batted in order in a professional baseball game in the major leagues. 1 strike count. Alou, a very loose bat hitter, now swings and's coming over as John Milner in foul territory. Has a play and he makes it. 2 men away, it brings up the first baseman, Darren Johnson. Darren has had 3 hits and 7 times at bat in the World Series, hitting .424. 2 of the hits as a pinch hitter. In the overall season, he batted .246 for Oakland with 19 home runs and 81 runs batted in. Darren started the year with the Philadelphia Phillies. Here's the first pitch by Matlock. It's in for a called strike. Johnson was the A's top designated hitter. Got off to a sensational start and then injured the thumb on his hitting hand and slowed down somewhat after that. Pitch back has called the ball. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. No score. 2 men out. We're in the bottom of the second. Now the left-hander with his 1-1 delivery. It's grounded out toward third. Garrett charges it, has a tough play, and makes it. Throws over to first base. Wayne Garrett coming in for the chopper. Took it on the half hop on the second hop and then made the play and then threw over to first base for a 1-2-3 inning for John Matlock. And the score at the end of 2, the Mets nothing, the A's nothing.
30 seconds for station identification.
Don Hahn in the batter's box as we go to the top of the third. The first pitch by Ken Holtzman is high and outside. The fastball missing, ball 1. Ralph Kiner here from Oakland with Jim Simpson and the 7th game of the World Series. Neither side has had a base hit, and Holtzman back to Hahn, and the pitch is a little bit low. It's ball 2. Hahn has had 4 hits and 25 times up in the series, batting 160 in the regular season. He batted 229 with 2 home runs and 21 runs batted in. Holtzman back with a strike. A fastball over the outside corner, about letter high. 2-1 the count. It'll be Don Hahn, Bud Harrelson, and John Matlock as the first 3 batters for the Mets. Holtzman has retired his first 6. And the left-hander back, and a fastball is fouled off on the right side out of play. It's 2-2. Holtzman has struck out 1. He struck out Wayne Garrett in the first, and he has walked none. Hahn taking time as he goes back to the on-deck circle. Now Hahn back up to the home plate area. It is a bright day here in Oakland and a tough left field, tough sun field right now. As the sun moves over later on in the afternoon, the sun field moves to left center and then center field. 2-2 pitch. It's inside, and Hahn has to jump back. Full count at 3-2. Hahn out of the batter's box, now gets back in. Holtzman into the windup, and the 3-2 pitch line to left field. It'll be a base hit. The first base hit of the ball game. Hahn to first base and holding there as Rudy gets the ball back in. So the Mets have had a base runner. First in the ball game as Hahn leads off in the third. In the second inning, 2 balls were hit hard off Ken Holtzman. A deep fly by Cleon Jones caught by Reggie Jackson. A line drive by Jerry Grote that was caught by Reggie Jackson. Now Hahn is led off with a line drive to left that brings up Bud Harrelson. Harrelson batting .300 for the series with 6 base hits and 20 times up. Bud, a switch hitter, will be batting from the right-hand side against the left-hander. Third baseman Sal Bando is in. Guard against the possible bunt. The first pitch is swung on and missed. Strike 1. Holtzman coming to the plate with a fastball. Harrelson in the regular season batted .258 with no home runs and 20 runs batted in. As Jim Simpson pointed out, Harrelson has turned in a great job at shortstop, as has Bert Campaneris. Pitch back to the plate, swung on and missed. Strike 2. Again the fastball. Holtzman had a 2.97 earned run average in the regular season, winning 21 and losing 13. His first 20-game year as a pitcher. Now the left-hander sets up, and the 2-strike pitch, a fastball, high and away, and a good play on the part of the catcher, Gene Tenace. Almost a wild pitch. Time called as Marty Springstead rushes off the plate. He was shook up by a foul tip in the second inning. 1-2, the count on Bud Harrelson. And again, Holtzman back to the plate. And a fastball high and away. It's 2-2. Mets are not a running team. They had only 27 stolen bases in the regular season out of 45 attempts. 2 balls, 2 strikes. On the short lead at first base. And the pitch back is outside, ball 3. So after having... Harrelson has worked the count full. On deck batter, John Matlock. Mets with a runner at first base, no one out as they bat in the top of the third. No score in the game. Time is out, and now Holtzman back to the plate. Harrelson lines it foul down in the left field stand. So the count remains at 3 balls and 2 strikes. through 1,912,390. This capacity crowd here, and there's a fly ball to left field. Under the ball is the left fielder, Rudy, and he had a lot of trouble with the sun, but he made the catch. Rudy moving into several different positions trying to get the sun away from the ball, and he made the play. So one away, on back to first base, and the batter is John Matlock. In the regular season, Yogi Berra sacrificed the majority of the time with one out, a runner at first base, and the pitcher up. Matlock has had one base hit and 3 times up in the series. A's Sal Bando looking for a possible sacrifice about 80 feet away at the third base position. Darren Johnson holding against the runner at first. Matlock, a left-hand batter. And he squares around and bunts the ball out toward first base, but foul. 1 strike count on John Matlock. Ball was bunted out to the first base side, and as it was just moving into foul territory, Gene Tenace, the catcher, batted at it and knocked it away. Matlock back in the batter's box as Tenace gives out the sign. Again, Bando in from that post position at third. Here's the pitch. Matlock ducks under it. The ball gets away from Tenace, rolls about 6 feet in back of him. He quickly gets and picks it up, and Hahn holds at first base. Pitch was right at John Matlock. He had to duck under the pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Field condition is excellent here at Oakland, despite the fact they have had some rain. Now the pitch again to the plate. Matlock bunts it out to third. Bando has it. The play at second base is in time. The relay to first base is in time for the double play. And the A's turn their 8th double play of the World Series, and the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, and no one left. And the score at the end of 2.5 innings, the Mets nothing, the A's nothing.
Augie Donatelli, who was involved in part of the dispute with the New York Mets earlier in the World Series, is the man who made that call at first base, and Yogi Berra raced out saying it wasn't so, but it was so. And now we go to the last of the third of a shortest game. In the National Football League today, all finals: Baltimore 27, Baltimore 29, Detroit 27, Miami 27, Buffalo 6, Cleveland 42, Houston 13, Washington 31, St. Louis 13, Pittsburgh 26, New York Jets 14, New England 13, the Chicago Bears 10, Minnesota 28-21 over Philadelphia. All of those are finals. Now back to baseball. The 7th game of the World Series, the last of the third. Dick Green to lead it off. Here again as well.
All right, Jim. Dick Green has had 1 base hit and 12 times up in the series, batting .083, batted .260 in the regular season, and John Matlock set the he has walked 1. That's given a base hit. And the first pitch by the left-hander to Green, a right-hand batter, is a fastball that swung on and fouled back into the stands, strike 1. Green had 3 home runs in the regular season, drove in 42. He'll be followed by Ken Holtzman and then Campy Campanera. Strike pitch. Green takes a curveball over a called strike. Matlock became only the 2nd pitcher in New York Mets history to strike out 200 or more batters when he struck out 205 in the regular season. Tom Seaver was the other Met that struck out 200 or more. He's done that several times. 2-strike pitch, and Green takes the fastball. It's inside, 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes. And Matlock back to the plate, and the pitch is swung on and fouled off. Count remaining at 1 ball and 2 strikes. John Matlock, one time attended the University of Pittsburgh. Comes from outside of Philadelphia, Westchester. Big left-hander looking in for the sign, now has it, and here's the 1-2 pitch again. A curveball over, strike 3 call. Matlock gets his 3rd strikeout. That'll bring up Ken Holtzman. Holtzman has been up once, and he has had one base hit. That was a double down the left field line. It was only his second appearance in the overall season at the plate. His other time up, he had walked. So he's batting 1,000 for the year. Right-hand batter. And the first pitch by Matlock. Swung on and missed, strike one. In this World Series, the designated hitter is not allowed, so the Oakland pitchers batting actually for the first time of the year, with the exception of a few that got in one or two licks in the regular season after the A's had clinched the pennant. And at one strike, the pitch back to the plate. Over for a call, strike two. Matlock had an earned run average of 3.20 for the season. Next pitch, grounded hard down the left field line, foul. And Holtzman coming close to another base hit as he bounces that ball just foul down the third base side. Wayne Garrett, the third baseman for the Mets. Bud Harrelson at shortstop. Felix Millan at second. John Milner at first. Leon Jones in left. Don Hahn in center. Rusty Staub in right. Next pitch is line down the left field line. Another base hit. It'll be extra bases. Holtzman going into second base with his stand-up double. So Ken Holtzman, batting for only the third time in the overall season, has his second base hit in this World Series, and he has the first base hit by the Oakland A's. Now, runner at second base in scoring position, and Campy Campanera is coming up. Time called in the outfield area where a couple of the grounds crew pick up some streamers that have been thrown out onto the field. Campaneris has grounded out the third in his one appearance. He's had 6 hits and 28 times up. That is .250 for this season. 4 home runs, 46 runs batted in. Campaneris, the right-hand batter. Milner, the first baseman, about 85 feet away to guard against a possible bunt. Wayne Garrett even with the bag at third. Here's the pitch. It is hit to deep right field. Going back at Staub to the warning track. It is gone. Goodbye. A home run by Catfish. The Oakland A's on the scoreboard with a 2-run home run. They lead 2-0. The 2 runs, the first 2 earned runs off of John Matlock in 3 starts in the series. That is the first home run by Oakland in this series. The Mets have had 4. Matlock in 16 innings had not given up an earned run, and now Oakland leading on a 2-run home run by Campaneris. He had 4 all season long, and the batter coming up is Joe Rudy. Rudy walked on 4 pitches his first time up, and Matlock with a curveball gets a swinging strike. The A's had gone 8 games without a home run. Last 2 playoff games and the first 6 of this World Series. And their last home run was by Campy Campaneris. In the 3rd game of the championship series, it came in the 11th inning. Now pitch back to the plate, a ball, it's 1-1. A's without a base hit quickly getting on the scoreboard with a double by Ken Holtzman, their first base hit, followed by the home run by Bert Campanera. Now Matlock into the windup and is swung on and missed. Again the curve. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Rudy has an average of .292 for the World Series with 7 base hits and 24 times up. And the 1-2 pitch is hit hard to left center. Another base hit. Might be 2. Going over Hahn to cut it off. Rudy making the turn to first base. Holds there as Hahn gets the ball back into the infield. A double, a home run, and a hard single. All coming with 1 out here in the bottom half of the third. And here comes Rube Walker, the pitching coach of the New York Mets. He's going out to the mound. In the bullpen, action for the New York Mets. Right-hander Harry Parker is starting to throw. Rube Walker out to the mound to talk with John Matlock. Also there, John Milner, the first baseman, and Jerry Grody, the catcher. And this crowd here in Oakland, a capacity crowd coming alive. Actually, they were alive from the minute they came into the stadium. Now Walker back to the bench. Time is back in. The batter is Sal Bando. He was struck out his first time up. Bando with 6 hits and 23 times up in the series. The right-hand batter. And Matlock with his first delivery. It's popped up out toward the first base side. John Milner is right there to field it, and he makes the play. 2 men away, Rudy holding at first base, and the batter coming up is Reggie Jackson, the center fielder. Grounded out to third a time up on a check swing. He's had 8 hits and 26 times up in the series. He's driven in 4. Led the American League in home runs with 32 and runs batted in with 117. And the left-hand batter taking his time before getting set in the batter's box. Rudy not being held on at first base. Milner playing about 2 steps off the bag. Now he moves further back. Here's the pitch to Sonny Jackson. A breaking ball low and outside a ball. Reggie Jackson batted .293. .293 in the regular season. Now Matlock's next pitch. A breaking ball over at the knees. A called strike. It's 1-1. Milner now has moved into her at first base. And it's the next pitch. Deep to right field. It is going. It is gone. Goodbye. 2-run home run by Reggie Jackson. With his first home run of the series, and the A's now lead by a score of 4-0 on 2 2-run home runs. The A's exploding here in the third inning, getting 2 home runs, their first 2 of the series. And now the batter coming up is Gene Tenace, the catcher. And Yogi Berra go mound, and that should be all for John Matlock. In the bullpen, right-hander Harry Parker is going. Berra going to the mound. Matlock looking out towards center field. He is not aware of Yogi's presence. Now Yogi gets to him, taps him on the back. Matlock turns around, talks to his manager, and here comes Harry Parker into the ball game. So John Matlock, who had not given up an earned run and working 16 innings in this World Series, is out of the ball game. In this inning, all the base hits that have been given up by Matlock, a total of 4 and 4 runs. Matlock leaving the ball game, struck out 2, he walked 1. Gets credit for 2 2/3 innings. And now Harry Parker into the game.
Parker will be making his 3rd appearance in the World Series. He was tagged with a loss at Shea Stadium. He's pitched 2 innings. And his earned run average is absolutely 0. Gene Tenace standing on deck. Well, the Oakland A's had not been getting the long ball, of which they're capable, and the Mets pitching staff had not only shut them out of the home run, but done an excellent job against the Cincinnati Reds in the championships before this. John Matlock, who had gone those 40 innings, and before this outbreak, 42 innings over his last 5 starts, with only 1 unearned run, it finally got to him. For the second time in the series, he's going with just 3 days rest, as Ralph Kiner pointed out, instead of his normal 4. And yesterday, after the ball game was over, when the New York Mets realized that there would be a 7th game, that they had not won the World Series in 6 games, Matlock said he was a little down. He did not expect to pitch today. He said, but I'm not going to hang around here and letting the reporters. I'm not going to hang around here and let you tell me how important tomorrow's game is. I'm going to go out and eat, I'm going to get a good night's sleep, and I'll pitch tomorrow as tired as I am. Well, he struggled in the first inning, did very well in the second inning, and after striking out Green, looking at a curveball, things fell in, and 4 runs are in. It's 4-0 Oakland, and the 3rd is not yet over. Parker's in, and here's Ralph.
Okay, Jim. Gene Tenace will be leading off, and the first pitch is called a ball. Tenace was struck out, looking at a 3-2 pitch his first time up. That was against John Matlock in the second. Tenace has been up 19 times. He's had 3 hits in the series. A pitch back by Parker over the inside corner, 1-1. Rally started by Ken Holtzman as he doubled down the left field line, followed by a 2-run home run by Campaneris, a single by Rudy, a 2-run home run by Reggie Jackson. Now the next delivery, it's swung on and fouled back into the stands, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Parker started the season for the Mets as a starting pitcher and was 4-0 as a starter. Then he was pressed into relief when Tug McGraw got off to a bad start in the early part of the year. Now here's the pitch back to the plate. A called strike, it's 1-2. In every one of the 7 games of this series, the home team has scored first. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the next delivery. It is checked on, and the pitch is low and outside. It's ball 3. Home plate umpire Marty Springstead indicated that ball might have been a foul ball. It was a check swing. The ball was down in the dirt. The scoreboard count 3-2. Pitch back is ball 4, and Tenace walks. Second walk in the game for Met pitchers, and it brings up a Sousa Lou, who fouled out his first time up. Now Lou has been called back, and left-hand hitting Vic Davalillo is out by the on-deck circle.
That'll happen, Ralph. Davalillo coming on now. And of course, as they go to the outfield, since they're going to the right-hander, Davalillo will the ball game. Undoubtedly to go to center, and Reggie Jackson will switch back to right.
Vic Davalillo, a left-hand batter.
And one more note. When Gene Tenace drew that walk just now, that's number 11 for the series, Ralph. He is tied with Babe Ruth in 1926, 11 walks in a 7-game series.
Davalillo batted .188 in the regular season with no home runs and 4 runs batted in. He's had 1 hit and 8 times up in the World Series. Now Parker from his set position, checking the runner at first base. His first pitch to Davalillo, a curveball over a called strike. Ray Sadecki is now pitching in the bullpen for the Mets. Sadecki throwing in the bullpen. Parker again to the set position, a check at first. The pitch back to Davalillo is swung on and foul back into the stands on the third base side at strike two. Speaking of famous names in baseball history, Babe Ruth, of course, Davalillo has a front leg raised somewhat similar to Mel Ott. Now it's strike two. The pitch by Parker. It is popped up into shallow center field. Coming up is John Hahn. The glasses go down. He's under the ball. He makes the catch, and the side retires. But in the inning, the A's send 8 to the plate. They score 4 runs on 4 hits, no errors, a walk, 1 left, and the score at the end of 3. Oakland 4, the Mets nothing.
Oakland, California. Jim Simpson with Ralph Connor. Davalillo has remained in the ball game and gone to center field, and Reggie Jackson switches to right field, where he got another standing ovation. And while you were away from the ballpark for a moment, Jackson spent many of his moments tipping his hat, waving his hand to the crowd. And the story is about Reggie, who this year had 32 home runs and 117 RBIs to lead the league in both departments. He has finally gained one thing. He's not only a leader now, but he has supreme confidence. And he really teed off with that second home run. Well, it's the Mets try to fight back his round.
All right, Jim, and the first pitch to Wayne Garrett, a fastball high and inside, ball 1. The Mets going around for the second time. Garrett struck out his first time up. Ken Holtzman has pitched to 9 batters. He has given up 1 base hit. The runner erased on a double play. Now the pitch back, and it's over a called strike. 1-1. Garrett, Felix Millan, and Rusty Staub, the first 3 batters for the Mets here in the 4th inning. Holtzman into the windup, and the 1-1 pitch. It is in there for a called strike 2. Garrett started to swing, held up, and the pitch a called strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Holtzman has struck out 1. He has walked none. Now the left-hander with his 1-2 pitch. It's swung on and grounded foul. So the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Garrett was the hottest batter for the Mets in September, when the Mets came on to come from last place the 30th day of August to win it. Now here in the 7th game of the World Series, Garrett has had 5 hits and 26 times up. There's a fly ball hit out to center field. Vic Davalillo with his first chance. He's under the ball, and he makes the catch. Four putouts in center field so far in this ball game, and the batter coming up is Felix Millan. Millan rounded out the short his first time up. He's had 5 hits and 29 times up. Davalillo, playing for Cleveland back in 1964, won a Golden Glove. First pitch to Millan is sliced down the right field line. Jackson in foul territory, over to make a spectacular catch in foul territory, and he runs into the wall. Not hurt. 2 men away. So the Oakland A's playing inspired baseball in this final. Another good play by Reggie Jackson, and the batter coming up for the Mets, Rusty Staub. He flied out to center field his first time up. Rusty with 9 hits and 23 times up. And the pitch back is inside. It's ball 1. Staub has driven in 5 runs in this World Series. Next pitch is lined out towards short, just by Campy Campaneris into center field, and Staub now with his 10th base hit. The leading hitter in the series. He's on at first base, 2 men away, and Cleon Jones coming up. Jones flied out to deep center field his first time up. Mets now have had their 2nd base hit. The A's have had 4. The A's lead 4-0. Jones has had 1 run batted in. Had a home run to right field in the right field. And Holtzman with his first delivery to Cleon Jones, a curveball low, and it's ball 1. Now Holtzman quickly sets up. His pitch back to the plate, a fastball. It's inside. 2 balls, no strikes. In the regular season, the A's had 147 home runs as a team. The Mets had 85. And the 2-0 pitch. Leon swings and fouls the ball. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Jones had 11 home runs in the regular season. He had 6 home runs in the last 10 games of the season for the Mets. Now the pitch back to Jones, a fastball. It's high and outside, and the count 3 balls and 1. The on-deck batter is John Milner, the Mets' leading home run hitter in the regular season. Mets trying to get back into this ball game. The A's leading 4-0. Here's the 3-1 pitch. It is over the outside corner, a called strike 2. Jones did not like the call. So with a full count, Darren Johnson, the first baseman, moving back behind the base runner. Staub will be running with the pitch, 2 men away. Holtzman sets up. Staub goes, and the pitch to Jones is inside. It's ball 4. So the Mets now have runners at first and second base for the first time in the ball game. And they have John Milner, their leading home run hitter, coming up. He had 23 home runs. We pause 30 seconds for station identification.
Audio Warehouse sells only stereo equipment. At Audio Warehouse, we buy in quantity, keep prices low. A sound example? This week at Audio Warehouse, you get a complete stereo system with a BSR 610X turntable, Sherwood 7100 receiver, and 2 EPI 100 speakers, regularly $549, now only $439. Audio Warehouse, specialize in good sound, sound advice, and low prices. If you think all stereo dealers are the same, and if you're thinking of buying a stereo system, think again. Think of us, Audio Warehouse.
Ralph Kiner along with Jim Simpson from Oakland, California. The A's leading 4-0. After a conference at the mound, it is Ken Holtzman pitching to John Milner. The first pitch is high. A fastball missing, ball 1. In the bullpen, left-hander Darrell Knowles throwing for Oakland, and right-hander Raleigh Fingers. And Holtzman with his 1-0 pitch. Milner hits it hard foul down the first base line. A bouncing ball fielded by the first baseman, Darren Johnson. So the count at 1 ball and 1 strike as the runners move back. Staub back to second base and Jones back to first. The runner in scoring position for the first time in the ball game. Holtzman giving up his first walk after Staub had singled to put Staub at second base. Here's the pitch. It's outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. No pitcher has had a complete game in this World Series. Two balls, 1 strike. Holtzman sets up the pitch back to Milner. It is hit hard towards second base and fielded there by Dick Green. A good play. And he throws to first base for the out that retires the side. No runs, 1 hit. No errors, a walk, 2 men left in the score at the end of 3.5 innings. Oakland 4, the Mets nothing.
It's this ball game 4-0 as we go to the 4th. One of the underlying conversations you had right from game 1 has been who's going to be the most valuable player. For a long while we talked about Harrelson and Campaneris, then Tug McGraw. But Reggie Jackson, who saved the ball game with a great catch in the first, his hitting heroics in the second game went for naught because Oakland lost that 10-7. Won yesterday's game, driving in 2 runs, scoring the third himself, and his 2-run shot today has put Reggie Jackson in the running for the most valuable player. But we've got a long way to go. 4th inning, Ralph.
All right, Jim, and the first pitch by Harry Parker to Darren Johnson's in for a called strike. If the Mets would win this final game of the World Series, Rusty Staub would have to be considered. He's had 10 base hits in the overall series. That pitch is swung on and missed, and the count now strike 2 against Darren Johnson. Johnson grounded out to third his first time up. He's had 3 hits and 8 times up in the series. And now Harry Parker, in relief, the starting pitcher John Matlock comes back with a fastball. It's inside, it's 1-2. Matlock working 2 2/3 innings, charged with 4 runs on 4 hits. He struck out 2, he walked 1. Parker got the final out in the third inning after the A's took the lead 4-0. Here's a curveball over, a strike call, and Johnson is struck out. That'll bring up Dick Green. He was struck out his first time up. Checking the record on John Matlock, he struck out 3 in his 2 2/3 innings. So the strikeout by Parker, the 4th by Met pitchers in this game. The pitch to Green is in for a called strike. Green with 1 hit and 13 times up. Right-hand batter. And the right-hand pitcher back to the plate, and the pitch is over. Strike 2 call. Harry Parker was acquired by the Mets from the St. Louis Cardinals. 2-strike delivery. Hit out toward right field in foul territory and beyond the reach of John Milner as he moves back trying to make the play. So the count stays at strike 2, and on the swing and the foul ball, Green broke his bat. So Green back to get another bat as the new ball is played. 162 games in the season. Playoffs going to the final 5th game for both teams. And now the final 7th game of the World Series. A 2-strike pitch. It is popped up foul back into the stands, out of play. So the count holds at strike 2. It is indeed a long season, and here on October 21st, the final game of the year. Green back in the batter's box. Parker taking the sign from Grody now goes into the windup, and again his 2-strike pitch is topped out toward third base, but foul. So again the count stays at strike 2. First game went to Oakland by a score of 2-1. The second game is the Mets 10-7 in 12 innings. The third game is the A's 3-2 in 11 innings. The fourth game is the Mets 6-1. Fifth game is the Mets 2-0, and then Oakland getting back even at 3-3, winning yesterday 3-1. Again, the 2-strike pitch, and it's grounded out to a third. Fielded there by Wayne Garrett. The throw to first base is in time for the out. So Green is out, 2 men away. It brings up Ken Holtzman, who doubled his first time up. And Holtzman getting a big hand here. He's been up only 3 times all year. Walked 1 time and has doubled twice in this World Series. Holtzman, a right-hand batter, a left-hand pitcher, into the batter's box. Parker into the windup and the pitch. Fastball, it's low, and it's ball 1. Parker again back, and the next pitch is swung on and missed. That time the curveball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Holtzman is batting for the first time against a right-hand pitcher. And at 1-1, Parker back, and the pitch is low and outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. And Parker, with his 2-1 delivery, it's hit in the air out to shallow left field. Going over into foul territory is Bud Harrelson. He makes the call, and he makes a good running catch, and the side is retired in order by Harry Parker. And the score at the end of 4 innings of play. It's Oakland 4, the Mets nothing.
With Ralph Connor, this is Jim Simpson at Oakland, California for game number 7, which the A's lead 4-0. Last year in 7 games, the A's won the American League Championship and the World Series over Cincinnati. And the A's then were known for their handlebar mustaches and long hair, harkening back to before the turn of the century. This year, they're known for their off-the-field squabbles, fights, arguments, problems with management, problems with ownership, problems with the commissioner's office, 4-0. The last time the New York Mets were in a World Series, they had their miracle of 1969. Down 4-0, the Mets are now looking for a miracle here in game number 7. One thing is obvious. Yogi Berra is going for runs. With the pitcher 4th due up in this 5th inning, he's already got Sadecki up and warming again. Holtzman is pitching very well. He's allowed but 2 hits, struck out 1, and walked 1. Only in trouble in the 4th when he gave up a single to Staub and then walked Leon Jones, but he got milled to the ground to second base. It's 4-0 as we start the New York 5th. Well,
Jerry Grody to lead off. He was robbed of a base hit by Reggie Jackson, who was playing center field at the time, back in the 2nd. Grody, a right-hand batter, 7 hits and 27 times up. In the first game of this World Series, he was robbed of a base hit by Jackson on a drive to left center. The first pitch is swung on and lined into left field, and the Mets have a base runner. 1 pitch, Grody is on with a base hit, and the batter coming up, the center fielder, Don Hahn, who singled to left field in the 3rd for the first hit for the Mets. Mets had 3 base hits in the ball game. The A's have had 4, and the A's leading 4-0 on 2 two-run home runs, one by Campy Campaneris, the other by Reggie Jackson. In the bullpen, Darrell Knowles again throwing for the A's, along with Raleigh Fingers, a left-hander and a right. On stepping into the batter's box in the first pitch. It is inside a ball. On has had 5 hits and 26 times up in this series. His first. Young center fielder steps out of the batter's box, takes a couple of phantom swings, gets back in. 1 ball, no strike. Grody not being held on at first base by Darren Johnson. Johnson playing off the bag behind him, and the pitch to the plate is outside. It's ball 2. 2 balls, no strike. On checking with third base coach Eddie Yost to see whether or not he'll be hitting. Roy McMillan, the Mets coach, at first. Now at 2-0 and takes. It's over the outside corner, a called strike. 2-1. Darrell Knowles looking in at the action. Not throwing now for the Oakland A's in the bullpen. The pitch back to Hahn is swung on and missed. 2-2. Fastball by Holtzman, a swinging strike. For the A's, their 174th season game. Of course, they had about 30 exhibition games, so they're around 200 in total games played for the year. 2-2 pitch is sliced foul into the stands on the first base side. Don Hahn was born in San Francisco. On the count at 2-2 as Hahn steps back into the batter's box. Mets with a runner on, no one out, trailing by 4 as they bat in the 5th inning. And the pitch. Swung on and missed, and Hahn is struck out. Holtzman's second strikeout of the game. That will bring up Bud Harrelson. Bud is 0 for 1. He flied out to left field his first time up. Harrelson with 6 hits and 21 times up. Switch hitter batting from the right-hand side against the left-hander Ken Holtzman. Again, Johnson, the first baseman, playing behind the runner at first base. And the first pitch to Harrelson. Bounce to the middle, going over Campaneris by the bag. He fields it, throws to Green at second base for the force play there. And Harrelson on the force play exchanges with Grody at first. 2 men away, and the batter coming up was scheduled to be Harry Parker, but the Mets are going for a pinch hitter. Jim Beecham coming out of the dugout, swinging a bat. It's going to be right-hand hitting Jim Beecham. Beecham, the Mets' number 1 right-handed pinch hitter over the course of the season, with no hits and 3 times up in the World Series. A's leading 4-0. With 4 runs in a very explosive 3rd inning. It started when Holtzman doubled down the left field line. Campaneris homered to right center field. Rudy singled to left and scored when Reggie Jackson homered to right center field. That's with the runner at first base. 2 men out. Beecham in the batter's box. Sadecki still throwing in the bullpen for the Mets. He'll be their next pitcher. Now Johnson holding against the runner, Bud Harrelson, and the first pitch to Beecham is swung on and missed, strike one. He had 278 in the regular season with no home runs. Pitch back to the plate. Breaking ball that's high and outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Holtzman checking the signs. Now checks the runner at first base. Comes back to the plate, and the pitch is taken high. A fastball. 2-1. Raleigh Fingers throwing in the bullpen for the A's. Darrell Knoll standing by. Holtzman to the set position, and the 2-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. Holtzman back with a fastball just above the knees, and the count now 2-2. A's trying to become the first team to win back-to-back World Series victories since the Yankees did it back in 61 and 62. Two balls, 2 strikes. And the pitch. Swung on and fouled back against the screen. The count holds. Casey Stengel, the manager of the Yankees, at that time is in the stands. Makes his home in Glendale, California. Came up to see the Mets in this World Series starting back on last Saturday. Went to New York with the Mets, watched the games there, and now back here in Oakland. Casey, the first manager the Mets ever had. Started back in 1962. There's a foul ball back into the stands, and the ball fielded there nicely by one of the fans. Count holds at 2 balls and 2 strikes. In that year, in 1962, the Mets set a record for losing games, 120. They won 40 and lost 120. After finishing 9th in 1968, the Mets won the championship World Series in 1969 for manager Gil Hodges. Here's the pitch. It's grounded foul off to the left side. Mets, the only expansion team to get into a World Series. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Mets have also had Wes Westrom as a manager in their brief history. There's a curveball over for a call, strike 3, and Holtzman strikes out the pinch hitter Jim Beecham. That retires his side. His 3rd strikeout. No runs, 1 hit. No errors, a man left at first, and the score after 4.5 innings. Oakland 4, the Mets nothing. Mets with their back to the wall, going to their 3rd pitcher as Ray Sadecki comes into the ball game. The A's leading by a score of 4-0. A's breaking loose for 4 runs in the 3rd on 2 2-run home runs, one by Bert Campaneris, the other by Reggie Jackson. And now it's Campy Campaneris coming up, and here for the play-by-play, Jim Simpson.
A roll for Campaneris. That home run on the first pitch, he went the other way. And Holtzman on base. And put the A's in front 2-0. After that, Rudy hit a Matlock curveball up the middle for a single, and with 2 out, Reggie Jackson drilled the longest home run of the series. Well up into the right field steeps over the 375 mark. Campaneris now to face Sadecki, a left-hander. First pitch is a strike. Sadecki, 32 years old, born and lives out in Kansas City. This is his 4th game of the series. He's only pitched 2 1/3 innings, but the other night when Matlock won 6-1 and his shoulder began to tighten up on him, Sadecki saved the game, pitching a scoreless ninth. That's ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike to Campaneris with Joe Rudy on deck. 4-0. Oakland. Last of the 5th, 7th game of the series. Off-speed pitch lined over the head of Harrelson. Jones out of left field, lets the ball get away from him. Campaneris on his way around second, picked up by Hahn in center field, and Campaneris puts on the brakes at second base. Leon Jones had that right leg go out from under him, and now the trainer is going as he tried to stop. Jones is being bent over by Don Hahn. Milner runs out from first base. Beyond the second baseman goes out. Rusty Staub runs out from right field, and the trainer's on his way out. And Leon Jones is down in left field. It appears that he turned his ankle
And he is lying on the ground now, holding that right ankle. Watching it on the instant replay, Jones fell back as he slipped after missing the ball and fell back on the right ankle. And he evidently had it pinned underneath him as he fell on top of it. So Cleon still on the ground as Tom McKenna, the trainer of the New York Mets, checks him out, along with several of the Met players.
Jones in this ball game sent Jackson deep to the warning track in the second. Also has walked and has 8 hits. And he was a strong man for the Mets down to the wire in the month of September. And when you're down 4-0, the one thing you don't want to lose is your cleanup batter, Cleon Jones. And they're still working over him out in left field. That is a base hit for Campaneris. An error on Jones as he allowed the ball to get away from him. The Oakland A's trying to now go to work on Ray Sadecki, leading 4-0. In 1965, it was the Dodgers who won the World Series. In 66, Baltimore winning its first blew them out in 4 straight. In 67, St. Louis took those miracle Boston Red Sox, also managed by Dick Williams, the manager in this World Series for Oakland. And 68, down as they were, Detroit came back with Mickey Lolich, the winner there. In 1969, these miracle New York Mets. In 1970, Baltimore had a rather easy time with Cincinnati. In 1971, Pittsburgh, led by the late Roberto Clemente, came back and in 7 games took Baltimore. And in 1972, Oakland, of course, defeated Cincinnati. And now you know what the Oakland A's are trying to do to become the first team since way back in 61-62 to win 2 in a row. And to have the American League win 2 championships in a row. The story on Cleon Jones, Ralph, is he is still down, still being worked on. Tom McKenna is still out there. Yogi Berra is bending over talking to him. And at this moment, with 4.5 innings of play to go, or maybe less, because it is the A's who lead, things do not look good for those amazing Mets.
Well, the main thing for the Mets is to keep Jones in the lineup. He is now up and limping around. He has been bandaged up by Tom McKenna, the trainer, and it appears he's going to be able to stay in the ball game.
Well, Yogi Berra is still walking with him, and so is Tom McKenna. So as they now begin to trot in, and Jones stays out there, let's pause 30 seconds for station identification.
Cleon Jones is staying in the ballgame. This is Ralph Kiner, and along with Jim Simpson, the World Series, the 7th game, and once again, here's Jim.
Joe Rudy walked on 4 pitches off starter hitting, and then picked on a curveball and singled to center to third and scored ahead of Reggie Jackson's powerful long home run to right center field. Down at second base is Campaneris. George Stone now throwing, left-hander for the New York Mets. Campaneris leads off. Sadecki throws. Line drive, base hit up the middle. Campaneris on his way around third. In comes Tom in center field. Throw goes to second. It's 5-0. That run cannot yet be labeled an earned run. Might be before this inning is over. But with a 5-run lead, Ken Holtzman has to feel pretty good. He can roll up the bases. A grand slam can be hit against him, and it can still only be 5-4. In other words, with a 5-run lead, the tying run can never come to bat. Here's Staub, 6 for 24 in the series, 0 for 2 this afternoon. In Game 7, Sadecki throws curveball strike. 5 runs on 6 hits, no errors. For Oakland, no runs, 3 hits, and 1 error. That's by Cleon Jones in this inning that has led the Campaneris scoring from second base. Again, a drive to right field. Staub is there. Going back, one hand into the hit the warning track. Staub, I don't believe, thought that ball would carry that far. Went back to the warning track and hauled it in. There's 1 out. Rudy retreats to first. And here comes Reggie Jackson. The last home run that Reggie had was on September the 24th against the Twins here in Oakland. In the 14 games from then until today, no home runs. Reggie on the bench having done little or nothing except defensively and offensively in a second game when it didn't count because New York won it 10-7. Before yesterday's game said, I've got that gut feeling. It's about time for me to do something. He doubled in two, scored the third himself on a 3-1 win. Today, his home run is driven in two. First pitch is a curveball strike to Jackson. And now Buzz Capra, a right-hander, joins George Stone, the left-hander, in the Mets bullpen. 5-0. He's trying to put the clamp on the amazing Mets and hope that no miracle happens here today. The Mets are still in the ballgame. We're just in the fifth. Ball is popped up. Garrett at third base says he's got to play in foul territory. The third base coaching box in it. He takes it for the second out. Jackson fouls out to Garrett and gets a hand as he walks back. Gene Tenace, called out looking at a curveball, strike three in the second inning, steps in. And then on a 3-2 pitch in the third, Tenace threw his 11th walk of the series. That tied him at a 1926 Babe Ruth record of 11 in one series. He had 101 during the regular season. Rudy at first, 2 out, 1 run in. Tenace 4 home runs last year. Watches the curveball hit the outside corner for a strike. The Oakland A's have been some story in the American League this year and then in the World Series. Another curveball, grounded foul, backhanded by Garrett in foul territory at third base. Of course, the New York Mets, amazing story, came with their September rush, 12 and a half out at All-Star time, and then having to win it the day after the regular season was over, and then having to knock off Cincinnati, which they did in 5 games, and then to carry Oakland to 7 games. But the A's, well, they're a different story. They have been a battling ball club off the field as well as on. Curveball popped up. Harrelson goes out. Hahn comes in. Leon is back. Harrelson says, I've got it. Fights to win and hauls it in. Towering pop fly. So make that run unearned. 1 run on 2 hits. 1 costly error as it turned out, and 1 left. We've gone through 5 innings, and the A's in the 7th game of the World Series lead the Mets 5-0.
The A's are leading this final series game by a score of 5-0, and if the Mets lose it, they'll be looking back. And one of the innings that they can look back to, the 8th of yesterday's ball game. With 1 away, Ken Boswell singles to right field as a pinch hitter. Wayne Garrett then lined the ball up the alley in left center field, got a single, and put Boswell over at third. A good play on the ball by the left fielder, Joe Rudy, to hold it to a single. Right after that, Felix Millan singled to right field. The Mets had a run in, and a runner at third base and a runner at first. Rusty Staub, the batter, had a chance to put it away. He has been the hitting hero, and he was struck out on 3 pitches by Darrell Knowles. That might have been the play that cost the Mets the chance to win the overall World Series in 6 games. Right now, it's Wayne Garrett coming up. Once again, here's Jim.
The Mets have 4 more innings in which to catch up, and this is the first of those 4. The top of the 6th, Garrett is 0 for 2 today, 5 for 27 of the series. Of course, has 2 home runs. Left-hander to left-hander, and he watches the ball go inside and low, ball 1. That's for the top of the batting order here. Millan is on deck, and as always, Staub, when Millan comes out on deck, retreats and stands a couple steps behind him. Foul off the fist back toward us. 1 ball, 1 strike. Staub comes very close to being a second man on deck. He just can't wait to get out of the dugout and start swinging the bat. Catfish Hunter had a great day yesterday. Holtzman's trying to duplicate that. There's a slow curve that's lined foul as Garrett got around in front of it. Retrieved out in right field by Reggie Jackson, who throws it up into the stands. Reggie is feeling pretty good. In each of the last 5 7-game series, the 7th game was won by the visiting team. Today, the home team is leading 5-0. So, we'll have to see what happens. Curveball breaks outside. The last time the home team won the 7th game was back in 1964 when St. Louis went into New York and played the Yankees, managed in 1964 by the manager of the Mets this year, Yogi Berra. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Garrett. Back with the fastball in, strike 3. 4th strikeout for Holtzman, who struck out Garrett, starting him out with 2 fastballs, and then had him looking at a curve. Today, in there, the 6th inning, he struck him out swinging at a fastball. So it's gotten him once looking at a curve and swinging in the sixth on a fastball. Felix beyond. Grounded to short of the first. Jackson caught his line drive, bouncing into the wall and foul territory in the fourth. First pitch down low, ball one. Beyond 0 for 2. Holtzman back throwing again, strike at the knees. And in the series, Beyond, who had 185 hits, a brand new Mets record during the regular season, has been up 30 times with 5 hits. Here's one out toward left center field. Beyond drills it between the two. Davalillo comes over, but it's going to roll to the wall. Beyond on his way down to second base and will stop there with a double. Hit number 4 off Holtzman. Beyond got that between Davalillo in center and Rudy in left. I thought Davalillo might run it down, but he got by him and rolled to the wall. And Beyond steamed in the second. With Staub and Jones due up. Rusty Staub pops up on the first pitch to short center field in the first and single with 2 out in the fourth. 5-0 as Staub steps in. Holtzman looks back, throws to Staub. Down low, ball one. One and 0. Fastball drill. This will be a base hit to right field. Beyond around the third base. It'll get by Jackson and roll to the wall. Staub on his way to second base. He'll go in with a double. Again, it looks as though Jackson would run that one down. Raced by him. And suddenly it is 5-1. And suddenly the Oakland bullpen gets busy again. Rusty Staub now has 11 hits in this World Series, 2 in this game, and Dick Williams is walking out. And he's already calling for the right-hander, Raleigh Fingers, to come in to face Cleon Jones.
Raleigh Fingers making another appearance in this ballgame. He was in 62 ball games in the regular season with a record of 7 wins and 8 losses. He had 22 saves, and that's the hand for Ken Holtzman. Holtzman getting credit for 5 1/3 innings of work. He has been charged with 1 run so far. He has given up 5 hits. He struck out 4 and walked 1. Fingers has appeared in 6 games in this World Series. He has pitched 10 1/3 innings, giving up 10 hits. He has allowed 4 runs, 1 earned run. He has walked 4 and struck out 2. His earned run average is 0.87 in World Series play. So quickly, Dick Williams making a pitching change as the Mets finally score, and with the score at 5-1, the Mets batting with a runner at second base and 1 man out. It is rumored that right after the ball game, Dick Williams will announce that he is resigning as manager of the Oakland A's. Going back to what Jim was talking about in 1964, when the Cardinals defeated the Yankees. The manager for the Cardinals was Johnny Keane, and the manager for the Yankees was Yogi Berra, and they both were fired. And Dick Williams has been rumored around the ballpark here. It has been rumored that Williams will announce his resignation as manager of the A's after the ball game.
Funny thing, Ralph, all I heard all week long since this World Series began, that Williams is going to quit, is going to the Yankees. And today, for the time as we hit the 7th game, I began to hear a little, well, is he going to quit? He's got a press conference after this game is over to announce, is he going or not? Well, here's Cleon Jones, sent Jackson at that time deep to the warning track in center field for his long drive, and then walked to the fourth and twisted his ankle. Last inning takes a curve outside when a Campanella single got by him and led to an unearned run, the 5th run of the series. Ball 1 to Jones. Down at second is Staub. 1 run in. It's 5-1 Oakland. Fingers throws a strike on the outside corner. Well, mark it up. For the 2nd year in a row, no complete games in a World Series game. Both starting pitchers gone today. Fingers ready. Throws a fastball out to right field. Jackson drifting back, tagging his Staub. Staub is on his way to third. Jackson's throw goes to the cutoff man Green, and with 2 out, a second run potentially is over at third base. Bringing up John Milner. Only once before, and this is the 70th World Series, remember, only once before have we had a World Series in which there has not been a complete game. Back in 1959, Dodgers and White Sox did not have a pitcher turn in a complete game. Last year, the 7-game series between Oakland and Cincinnati. This year, in the 7-game series between New York and Oakland, no complete games. Milner popped out to Green in the second and was thrown out on a pretty good play by Green in the fourth. Fingers ready and throws inside and low, ball 1. Milner, top left-handed hitting home run hitter for the Mets in their history with 23 this year. Has none, of course, in this World Series. Down low again. It is 2-0. Waiting on deck is Jerry Grody. Sal Bando trots over now to say something to Raleigh Fingers. Darrell Knowles is still out in that Oakland bullpen. And George Stone still warming in the Mets bullpen. Fingers throws. That's a strike. Miller started off or checked on it, but the ball hit the inside corner. Five to 1 our score in the 7th game of the series. We've got 2 out in the 6th. Rusty Staub over at third base. Milner looks, waits, ground ball toward Johnson, down to one knee, stumbles a bit, gets up, steps on the bag, and they're out of it. 1 run on 2 base hits, no errors, and Staub left at third. We go to the last of the 6th, and Oakland leads 5-1.
Vic Davalillo will lead off for Oakland here. He'll be in the ballgame batting against the left-hand pitcher. He was put in the ballgame to bat against the right-hand pitcher back in the 3rd. It'll be Vic Davalillo, Darren Johnson, and Dick Green for Ray Sadecki as Ray gets set to work his 2nd inning. Throw on down to second base, and here's Jim Simpson.
5-1 our score. Ray Fosse has been warming up out in the bullpen, and it might be that the A's will get Fosse game and send Tenace down to first base a little bit later on for defensive purposes, taking out Darren Johnson. But here's Davalillo, who fly to center in the 3rd. A's out in front by 5-1. Ray Sadecki, the 3rd Mets pitcher, left-hander, ready to work. Garrett is in on the grass at 3rd. Davalillo takes a strike at the knee. Matlock was the starter today, worked 2 2/3 innings, gave up 4 runs on 4 hits, 2 of them home runs by Campaneris and Jackson. Drive out toward right field. In comes Staub. Out goes Leon. Staub is there, one-handed. And that'll bring up Darren Johnson. Johnson just might be batting for the last time, and we might have that defensive change. He grounded to Garrett at 3rd in the 2nd and looked at a 3rd call strike, a curveball in the 4th. Sadecki throws a curveball, strike. If Holtzman should be the winning pitcher today, will you realize that left-handers will have won 6 of the 7 games? Holtzman twice, Lindblad once. For the Mets, Koosman, Matlock, and McGraw. Each one, there's a ball, 1 ball, 1 strike. But one of the biggest wins was by the right-hander, Catfish Hunter, yesterday, 3-1. That sent this to the 7th game of the World Series. 1 ball, 1 strike. Sadecki throws a fastball, catches the outside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now Paul Lindblad runs down to join the Oakland bullpen. Sunny skies in Oakland. Sun is shining on the A's right now. There's a ground foul as they're out in front by 4 runs. 5-1. Well, they just can't seem to erase the stigma of unearned runs in this World Series. We've got another one today. We have had one all along throughout the World Series. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now he drops down for the curveball, which stays outside. 2-2. We've had some rain in Oakland at nighttime. We've had some rain before the games in New York, but all games have gone exactly as scheduled. All 7 of them. 3-2 now as the ball misses high and outside to Darren Johnson. Dick Green stands on deck. Sadecki throws and breaks a curveball over there that Johnson swings and misses. That's the 5th strikeout for the A's this afternoon. That's the first for Sadecki, and that's the second time that Johnson has struck out. Here's Dick Green. Right-handed batter. Green is 0 for 2. He is struck out looking and Sadecki's ready, throws outside. I would say the biggest turnaround of this World Series from the first game a week ago yesterday until today has been the Oakland crowd. It is a sellout. It is a noisy crowd. It was not a sellout, and it was not a noisy crowd a week ago in either game, Saturday or Sunday. This ball misses up high. 2-0 now to Dick Green. They play Green slightly around the right. Sadecki drops down to throw that curveball of his and gets it over. 2 balls, 1 strike. There are banners here in Oakland, as there were at Shea Stadium in New York. Another curveball, swing and a miss. It's 2-2. And if you were with us yesterday, I pointed out that in New York, Tug McGraw, their fine reliever, says you gotta believe. Out here, there's a sign out in left field, written in the green and gold colors of Oakland, saying, "Make it happen." Sadecki ready, throws the fastball. It's lined off to the right. Sadecki, Ralph, seems to, every time he throws the breaking pitch, drops down, and when he throws the fastball, comes over the top.
Ray has pitched outstanding baseball for the Mets this year, and I believe he's faster than he has been in several years. He won 20 games going back to the St. Louis Cardinals in '64.
2-2 the pitch, and there's a breaking pitch grounded to Harrelson on 2 big hops at shortstop. He throws on, and that's the A's 6th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left. At the end of 6 of the 7th game of the World Series, it's 5-1, Oakland.
We're going now to the top of the 7th inning. Oakland leading by a score of 5-1. The Mets coming up. They have 9 outs to go, and once again for the play-by-play, Jim Simpson.
All right, Ralph, and as we suspected, Dick Williams has made that defensive change. Gene Tenace moves from behind the plate down to first base, and Ray Fosse comes into the ballgame to do the catching. So that's 3 defensive changes that Williams has made. One dictated by getting a left-handed swinger in there, Dale. Jerry Grody, 1 for 2 today, swings and a line drive toward left field. Rudy comes on and takes it. Grody is now 1 for 3, but he has hit the ball right on the button every time. And here's Don Hahn, who singled to left on a 3-2 pitch from Ken Holtzman, the starter, and struck out swinging at a Holtzman fastball in the 5th. 1 for 2. Stone continues to throw. Anybody gets on here, and the pitcher Sadecki will be batted for. It's 5-1. The A's, at least their fans, are feeling that they've really got a headlong start toward that 2nd consecutive World Championship. Hahn fouls the first one. Off to the right, down the right field line, and into the seats. And by the way, for those of you who've been listening overseas on Armed Forces, American Forces Radio in Europe and in South America, FEN, in Asia and in Japan, it's been nice having you with us on this World Series, the 70th in history. Strike 1. The count, fingers throws, and another foul ball off to the right. A little bit deeper down the right field line, into the seats this time, and it's quickly 2 strikes to Hahn. They used to play Hahn around to the right, but after his triple of the other night in New York, in the 4th game of the series, to left center, they played him a little to the left. This pitch is down low, gets between the legs of Fosse. 1 ball, 2 strikes. When Hahn struck out in the 5th inning, he chased a fastball low and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Harrelson on deck. Raleigh fingers. Big right-hander throws a sidearm sweeping breaking ball that breaks low and away, and it's 2-2. Fingers, when he gets that pitch over, it hits the outside corner of the plate, and he is most effective against that one missed. 2-2. Fingers working very fast now, comes back with a fastball, and it's fouled off to the right, upstairs, and dropped. Marty Springstead, the umpire, with a new supply of baseballs now. Packed house, the Oakland Coliseum, and their A's are winning it 5-1. Fingers throws again, fastball, little looper out into right field, and Jackson's going to take it on one hop. Hahn has his second hit of this game, his 6th of the series, and that's the first of Raleigh Fingers, although Grody hit the ball very hard to Rudy and left. Bud Harrelson coming up. Nobody is on the... Well, Sadecki is now walking out to the on-deck circle, but you can bet if Harrelson gets on, or maybe even if he doesn't, you'll have a pinch hitter. Harrelson, a switch hitter, batting left-handed against Raleigh Fingers. Mets trying to battle back. They're down by 4. Bando creeps in on the grass at third base. Fastball, strike. Harrelson didn't think so. Turns away and yells something at Marty Springstead. Well, you can do a little more jawing at the umpire in public in the 7th game of the World Series. You won't see him again until next year. They play Bud Harrelson to hit the other way. Harrelson has no hits today, 6 hits in 22 attempts in the series. Ball is hit out to center field. Davalillo swoops over and takes it. Battling all the way, and suddenly forgot there was a man on base until Rudy yelled at him, and then he whirled and threw it in. 2 out. And Boswell is coming up. Ken Boswell was a pinch hitter yesterday and came through, and a pinch hitter one other time in the World Series and through. He is 2 for 2, batting 1,000, and has scored a run. It was Boswell, as Ralph said, ignited that attempted Mets comeback in the late innings yesterday, leading off with a base hit, but it just fell short. And Joe Rudy was largely responsible there, making a fine play. And of course, Darrell Knowles with those 3 pitches to Staub, and Rusty never came close on any one of them. Striking out. Boswell comes up. He's a left-handed hitter. Ken apparently is affiliated with some shoe concern, because he'll come out in warm-ups and wear a white shoe all through batting practice, fielding practice, and then when it comes time to play the game, he'll go back and put on the same black shoes as the rest of the New York Mets have. They play Ken around to the right. Jackson very close to the line, down the right field line. Tenace not holding. Don Hahn on, but guarding the line and back to first base. A's are up 5-1, and the A's fans are calling on Fingers to get Boswell. Pitches in under the hands. It's ball 1. And now, a little parachute floats to earth behind home plate. Plastic parachute with an A on it and a green baseball, or a facsimile of a baseball, the weight that pulls it down, and it is picked up by a Met ball boy and kind of rumpled up and put in the Met dugout, and he draws the booze. Ball 1 to Boswell. Fingers throws. Little looper out into center field. That's going to drop in there, and stopping at second base is Don Hahn. And Boswell, win or lose over the wintertime, could say, hey, look at me. I was up 3 times as a pinch hitter in the World Series, and I got 3 base hits. Now, Garrett is coming up, and Garrett is the only man, 2 home runs. Garrett has 5 hits. 2 of those are home runs. He has been up 28 times. He has struck out twice today. He is a left-handed batter, and quickly Wes Stock comes running out, the pitching coach, to talk to Raleigh Fingers. Ray Fosse's going to join him. And Darrell Knowles continues to warm. Garrett hasn't moved out of the batting box yet. 5 runs on 6 hits. And no errors for Oakland. 1 run on 7 hits and an error that cost a run for the New York Mets. Stock comes back. Hahn is at second. Boswell is at first. There are 2 out. And Garrett is ready. 5-1. Mets trying to rally, trying to come back. Fingers throws outside and high. Ball 1. And now the Oakland crowd becomes a little restive. Infield pulled well around for Garrett, who can pull that ball. Slightly open stance. Swings, gets a good cut at a fastball from Fingers and fouls it to the screen. George Stone continues to throw. He'll be the next pitcher. He'll be the 4th pitcher for the New York Mets. Yogi Berra said everybody will pitch that we need except Tom Seaver. He's through for the year. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fingers throws, breaking pitch, foul at the plate. Fingers curveball, foul at the plate. 1-2. The honors on deck. Dick Williams, arms folded, walking back and forth. In front of his dugout now takes his stance alongside of Wes Stock. That's the twosome you see together. Williams with his pitching coach, Stock. Just as Rube Walker always sits himself very close to Yogi Berra. And 2. 2 on the pitch. Breaking pitch. Grounded. Foul ball, says Donatelli at first base. Well, it just went foul because it hit a couple of feet in front of the bag in fair territory, but then it caromed off foul. Boswell down at first base with his 3rd pinch hit. Joins Gonzalo Marquez, who was with the A's last year, also had 3 pinch hits in the series. And such people as Carl Warwick, Dusty Rhodes, and Bobby Brown who all did the same thing. Our score is 5-1. In the New York 7th, Oakland leads. Fingers ready. Let's back to second. Now throws a breaking pitch. It's line foul. Down into the Mets bullpen. Caroms off there and out towards Reggie Jackson in right field. Breaking pitch, and Garrett was way out in front of it. 5-1, and Jackson throws another one into the stands. Jackson has driven in 2 runs and thrown 2 balls into the stands. He's 2 for 2. 1-2. Fingers to the stretch. Throws the pitch too high. And it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fosse walks out a few steps, tosses the ball back. Darrell Knowles continues to throw down on the Oakland bullpen. Shadows creeping over our head from the screen back out toward home plate. Fingers throws inside with a fastball, and he's gone 3-2, and that gives the Mets something they've been looking for. Now, instead of hugging it in there with 1 ball, 2 strikes, 3-2, they can be off and running and get an extra jump. Should Garrett get Wood on the ball, it'll give them a running start with 3-2 and 2 out. Fingers ready in the stretch. The runners lead off. The runners are on the way. Fastball, strike 3 called. Garrett throws his bat away in disgust. He is struck out for the 3rd time. Does a few work to the fastball right at the knees and struck him out. No run, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left in transit between 1st and 2nd and 3rd. We go to the last of the 7th. It's 5-1 Oakland.
While we were away, this crowd of 50,000, a sellout crowd singing God Bless America. Ralph Kiner, along with Jim Simpson, we're going now to the bottom of the 7th inning. The new pitcher in the ball game for the Mets, and here's Jim.
George Stone in the 2nd game. He's pitched an inning and saved the game for Matlock in New York. 5-1 our score, as Ralph said. Raleigh Fingers steps in to do the hitting. Fingers is 0 for 1 thus far and takes a strike. 0 for 1 in the series. This is his first time at bat in this game. Fingers entrusting to save this game for Holtzman has 6 outs to go. That pitch misses, 1 ball wide. Golden opportunity in the 7th inning for the Mets, but Garrett got caught looking at the fastball. The 8th inning may be labeled as a best opportunity. Neon, Staub, and Jones are due up. 5 out toward right field. Staub comes on fast and can't get it on one hop. Fingers has a base hit. That ball wasn't drilled to right field. It fell in front of a charging Staub.
Before the series started, Dick Williams was asked whether or not the designated hitter rule in the American League would affect this ball club because his pitchers had not been able to hit because of that rule. He said he didn't think so. He was certainly right. The pitchers have had 3 base hits in this World Series.
2 of them in this game. On an 0-2 count, Holtzman double to left, and now Fingers technically single to right. That'll bring up Campaneris, whose 2-run homer in the 3rd broke open the game. Bunt. Miller picks it up at first. Doesn't throw to first. He has the play in front of him. Just stood there. Get it out of his glove and throw it. Wants to pick it out of his glove, and nothing happened. Has to go as a base hit. Fingers down to second. Campaneris fighting his way on. That's the 3rd hit in this game for Campaneris. And that'll bring up Rudy, who is 2 for 2, plus a walk. He has scored once. 5-1 Oakland. The A's want to break it wide open. Another bunt. Foul down the 3rd base line. Stone in deep trouble. And the Mets a whisker away from letting this game get completely out of hand in the last of the 7th inning. And if the game gets out of hand, the World Series championship rings go the other way. Jerry Koosman, a fine pitcher in Shea Stadium in New York, has started to warm up. Down at second base, Raleigh Fingers ties his shoe. Milner is in on the grass at 3rd. Garrett is also looking for the bunt. Rudy is looking down to Herb Norris. And the fans here in Oakland love it. Rudy steps back in. One strike to count. Squares around the bunt again. Pops it up foul behind the screen. And it's 2 strikes. And now Rudy will take a look again. Well, I remember when Rusty Staub was called on to bunt a couple of times. Couldn't do it, so he had to swing away, and he swung away for a home run in New York. Let's see what Joe Rudy does. He walked in the 1st inning, singled in the 3rd and in the 5th. Stone steps on. Rudy steps in. The pitch. Ground ball foul. Outside the bag at 3rd. Drifts down, slowly rolling now toward the A's bullpen. Oakland A's won the 1st. The Mets tied it. They won the 3rd. The Mets tied it. Then the Mets went ahead. The A's came back and tied the series yesterday, and now they're out in front of the decisive one, 5-1. Stone from the stretch. 0-2. Down low and inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ball pops out of the glove of Brody. Walks over, picks it up, fires it back to Stone. Wind is blowing out towards center field. Miller is still in at first base. Garrett has gone back at 3rd, figuring Rudy to swing away, and he takes a called strike 3. Rudy turns around and looks at Spring-Smith, as Garrett did just moments ago, but Stone gets the strikeout. And that'll bring up Sal Bando, 0 for 3 today, 6 for 25 in the series. He sent Staub to the warning track in right field the last time he was up. Fingers led off this seventh inning with a Texas League single to right. Campaneris bunted his way on when Milner did not make a throw at first. Apparently couldn't get the ball out of his glove. Breaking pitch is a ball one. And Rudy is just struck out looking. Leon keeps decoying behind the runner Fingers at second base. Stone throws again. Breaking pitch catches the inside corner. And now Bando puts his hands on his hips and says something to Marty Springstead. I said at the outset, the Oakland Coliseum sounds like the Roman Coliseum, and it does. Or the way I imagine it did. 1 ball, 1 strike. Swing at a change and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Seventh inning, 1 man is out. 2 men are on. And it's a 4-run lead for Oakland. Bando, power hitter, nevertheless chokes up just a bit on the bat. Stone throws, swing and a miss. Bando is out of there. Stone got himself in some trouble with a couple of base hits. Here comes Reggie Jackson. In the third inning, when the A's got their 4 earned runs, Holtzman had a double. Campaneris hit the first pitch to the opposite field for a home run. Then Rudy singled. Bando popped out, and with Jackson, who drove in 2 runs yesterday with 2 out, drove in 2 more today with 1 swing of his bat. A home run into the right center field bleachers. And now Reggie is 9 hits and 28 times at bat and has 6 RBIs and has made some important catches and throws. Stone, a left-hander, looking in now to Reggie Jackson, the left-handed hitter. Throws him a breaking pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Nobody now in the Oakland bullpen, but Kuzman still getting warm down in the Mets bullpen. Now Springstead steps out. Well, a streamer, I guess, is in the way. What it is it's floating out directly over second base, out over the center field wall, and it's distracting when a hitter looks at the pitcher. He can see past that fluttering of white. Then removed, and with 1 strike, Jackson is ready. Stone throws down low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Vegas checking around to where Mion and Harrelson are. Campaneris looking over his shoulder. Stone throws. Jackson checks his swing. 2-1. Pitch was low. Brody asked for a ruling by third base umpire Paul Pryor, and Pryor affirms that Jackson did swing in time. Two and one. This time it's a strike. Jackson tried to check his swing. May have, but the ball, says Springstead, was over the plate. 2 strikes. Gene Tenace is on deck. They play Jackson around to the right and very deep. Swing and a miss. He has struck out. Stone got in trouble with the base hits to Fingers and to Campaneris, and then struck out Rudy, Bando, and Jackson. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and the same 2 left on base. At the end of 7, Oakland 5, New York 1.
Well, the Mets are down to their last 6 outs in this ball game as we go to the top of the 8th inning. Oakland leading by a score of 5-1. Leadoff batter for the Mets in this inning will be Felix Mion, who has doubled and 3 times up in this ball game, and he has scored the only Met run. The Mets with a good chance as they come to the heart of their batting order. Felix Mion batting second, Rusty Staub batting third, and Cleon Jones batting fourth. And now once again, here's Jim.
Marty Springstead will now do a little work around home plate. The catcher is ready. Leon stepping out. And now steps back in. Felix Millar. He doubled between Davalillo and Rudy last time up. Fingers, throws. It's a strike. The Mets had a pretty good opportunity there in the 6th inning and again in the 7th inning. They're down 5-1 and they're running out of chances. Fingers throws again, low and away in the dirt. Fosse digs it out. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. The 4 first runs, all the earned runs by Oakland, as we told you, came on the 2 home runs. First by Campaneris, then by Jackson. Then in the 5th inning, Campaneris singled, and the ball got away for Jones for an error, and Rudy immediately singled him home with his 4th RBI of the series. Breaking pitch, catches the outside corner. That's what Fingers likes to do. Right-hander with a sweeping motion to a right-handed hitter, catching that corner low away. 1 ball, strikes. Rusty Staub stands on deck. Fingers ready. Throws a breaking pitch. Slow roller toward Campaneris at shortstop. Up with it quickly. Throws on. There he is. He's out by 3 or 4 steps. As slow as that was, Campaneris on the dead run was tapping his glove before he got there, saying, "I've got it." Here's Rusty Staub. Fly to short center in the 1st, singled in the 4th, and doubled in his 6th RBI in the 6th. Rusty Staub has been a one-man gang for the New York Mets. He has 11 hits, more than anybody else. He has 6 RBIs. But now 1 out in the 8th inning. You just wonder, as we come down to the closing moments, will we see Willie Mays as a player again? Because this is his last game as a player after a remarkable career that began in 1951, when his first year started out in a World Series. And now he winds up that career in a World Series. Fastball is inside the stop. Ball 1. Leon Jones kneeling on deck. They're still playing Staub to go the other way. Since that shoulder injury, has not pulled too many pitches. There's a strike on the inside corner. Fastball from Fingers. Although last time up, Staub did pull a double to right field. Fingers throws a curveball that drops right over. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Big, slow curve from Raleigh Fingers. He gives you all that motion. Now the 1-2 pitch. Back with the fastball, grounded toward Green at second base. On the second up, he throws over to Tenace and a 2 out. And this crowd begins to feel that they are for real, that the Oakland A's are going to nail this down. 2 out in the 8th inning. They're 4 outs away from becoming the first teams of the Yankees of the 62-63 seasons to win back-to-back world championships. Here's Leon Jones. Sent Jackson deep to center to haul in his long drive in the 2nd, walked in the 4th, and fly to right in the 6th. 5-1 our score in the 8th. Milner on deck. Fastball catches the outside corner. Strike 1 from Fingers. This ball game was scoreless through the first 2.5 innings before the 4-run 3rd. Swinging strike on a slow Fingers curveball. And then John Matlock with but 1 earned run in the previous 42 and a 3rd innings, allowed 4. As for the 2nd time in the series, he was pitching with the unaccustomed to 3 days rest instead of 4. 0-2 now, the count to Leon Jones. Fingers ready. Throws him the fastball that misses outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Good in sunshine, but out beyond center field, some very dark, rainy-looking clouds. Just look like they will go by the other way. Not stop here. 1-2, throws him a breaking pitch low and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. trying to save this game for Holtzman and win the World Series. Fastball backs him out of there. At a count of 0-2, Simpson missed twice low and away and then busted him with a fastball inside. And it's 3-2 with 2 outs. Mets down by 4. Need lots of base runners and some timely hits. Fastball is foul down the right field line. This will be well back in the seats. Still 3-2. Well, the series started out here a week ago yesterday. We played through 2 games and left Oakland even Steven, a game apiece. On to New York. When we came back, it was the Mets who were leading. Swing and a miss and a hard curveball or slider. Fingers strikes out Cleon Jones. They've got 3 outs to go, and the World Championship will belong to Oakland. In other words, the Mets are running out of time. We go to the last of the 8th. Oakland 5 and New York 1.
After 174 ball games, it's down to the 8th inning. Oakland leading in the final game of this best of 4 out of 7 by a score of 5-1. In the top of the 9th inning, the Mets will have John Milner, Jerry Grote, and Don Hahn as their first 3 batters. At first, the bottom half of the 8th, and here's Jim Simpson.
Gene Tenace, who is 0 for 2, but a very important walk. When he walked in the 3rd inning, he tied a Babe Ruth record set in the 1926 World Series of 11 walks in a 7-game series. Tenace, the hero of last year's World Series, up for perhaps the last time this year, takes a strike at the knees. Well, you begin to wonder, should this score hold up, and it's a comfortable 4-run lead with 1 inning to go, what the announcement of Dick Williams will be, the manager of the A's. Going back down low, it is 1-1. Here's a man that took the Boston Red Sox to the 1967 World Series, much to the surprise of many. And then, of course, he had Oakland in the championships before last year. There's a drive. Deep to left field. Jones back by the warning track now, circles in and takes it. 1 out in the 8th. And that'll bring up Davalillo, who is 0 for 2. To continue the story, he had the championships, Oakland in the championships 1 year against Baltimore, did not make it to the World Series, came back the next year, made it to the World Series, and all the way to the World Championship, beating Cincinnati in 7 games last year. And now he has won a 3rd straight division title, and looks like he's going to win a 2nd straight World Series. He will have managed 2 different ball clubs, the 3 World Series since 1967. That is some kind of management. Davalillo takes a pitch up high. Ball 1. It'll be Milner, Grote, and Hahn in the 9th inning for New York in their last chance. Davalillo, ground ball toward Leon at second base. Up with it, sidearms it to Milner, to 2 out. And the Oakland 8th. And now Ray Fosse will come up for the first time. He went in as a defensive replacement. Fosse has been up 18 times, has 2 base hits, one of which was a double. Right-handed batter. Harrelson pulls way around in the hole for Fosse, standing back at the very edge of the outfield grass. Line drive between them. No matter how far over he was pulled, it went right between Harrelson and Garrett. And Fosse gets another base hit. That's the 3rd off Stone. Fosse now on the series, 3 for 19. And here's Dick Green. 0 for 3 today, 1 for 15 in the series. But he has had some defensive gems at second base. 5 runs, 9 hits, no errors for Oakland. 1 run, 7 hits, and 1 error for New York. Stone, the 4th Mets pitcher, throws, swing and a miss by Green on the fastball. Sun temporarily has disappeared behind the clouds, and now we see bits of paper and confetti floating down from various areas of the stands. The Oakland fans, wrapped by their ball players a week ago, celebrating this weekend, a pitch low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. As a matter of fact, the A's yesterday, with a sellout crowd screaming as they are today, said in their locker room afterwards they couldn't believe it. Was that the same Oakland crowd they've known for so many years? 1-1. Stone throws, swinging in a ground foul right at the plate, picked up by Grote quickly and thrown back to Staub. 1 ball, 2 strikes. If the A's do win, they will have won 3 of their 4 home games of this World Series, while the Mets won 2 out of 3 of their home games at Shea Stadium. 1-2. Stone throws, ground ball forward. Harrelson, the shortstop, up with it. He'll go to first base. And he has got Green for the 3rd out, and Milner flips it back. And now, no hit, no errors, and 1 left. We go to the 9th inning. The Mets' last chance. At the end of 8, it's 5-1 Oakland. Of these Oakland A fans, as they feel they're just an inning away, 3 outs away of winning a 2nd consecutive World Championship since the mighty Yankees did it in the early 60s. And more importantly, for the American League, it will be the first time that any league has repeated as World Series champions in the last 7 years. They've been alternating. Milner 0 for 3, leads it off against Raleigh Fingers. It's not over yet. It's 5-1 Oakland. He takes a breaking pitch on the inside corner, strike 1. Grote stands on deck. There are white pennants with green letterings of Oakland all around. There are batting helmets of the Oakland A's. Green jackets, breaking pitch, the curveball missed outside, 1-1. And a young man below me walks by with a sign that he prepared this morning, obviously, beautifully printed, says World Series Champions 1973, the A's. Pitches up high and inside, 2 balls, 1 strike. Fosse yells out at Fingers, get the ball over, make him hit it. We're up by 4. Fingers back, throws the fastball, and Milner had a pretty good cut, but fouls it back. It's 2-2. Clouds have covered up the sun, but it's a bright picture here for A's fans at the moment, a pretty dark one for the Mets. 2-2, ball is pulled, foul, down to the Mets bullpen. Past Roy McMillan, the coach at first base. Don Hahn is 3rd up, due up in this inning, and you just wonder again out loud whether or not Woody Mays will get a chance to swing a bat. Fingers throws inside with the fastball. 3-2. Ball, or rather the wind is blowing straight out towards center field. And now Milner steps out. An object of some kind got loose on the field behind home plate. 3-2. Milner waits, Fingers throws, again a foul. Sharply hit past first base, where Tenace is guarding that line. Jackson comes over. Let's see if he throws this one into the stands. He runs back, he throws it into the stands, and they drop it out. So now he's got to retrieve it down on the warning track and flip it up again. That's 3 that Reggie has thrown into the stands, and we make a point of it because technically not supposed to do that. That brings a fine. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Back again with the fastball, fouled upstairs behind us. Still 3-2. We are in the 9th inning in Oakland, California, in the 7th game of the World Series, and the A's lead it 5-1. Fingers throws him the fastball again, foul past Tenace at first base. That's 3 straight pitches that Milner's been out in front of and has ripped past the first baseman. Jackson has another one, and Harry Wendelstedt, the umpire, saying a few words to him out there. Reggie's having fun now, chasing down foul balls and throwing them in the seats. He could be the series' most valuable player. Pitches inside, and look out, the Mets are alive as Milner draws the walk. That's one thing a relief pitcher is not supposed to do, and so Weststock comes racing out. Don't put men on base. Don Hahn comes out into the on-deck circle. Grote is waiting in the batter's box. 5-1 the score. Some people are beginning to move around now. Darrell Knowles is getting up. Down in the bullpen. Fosse comes back. Eddie Yost yelled something across to Roy McMillan, yelling from third to first base. Infield, in at the corners, looking for the double play, and playing Brody slightly around to the right. He is 1 for 3. He's hit the ball hard every time. It's low, ball 1. Jackson made a diving catch on him in the second. He singled to left in the fifth, and he lined to Rudy and left in the seventh. He has been pulling the baseball, hitting it hard, but he's 1 for 3. He has 8 hits in the series. This pitch, breaking ball, catches the outside corner. In the bullpen right now, the right-hander is James Catfish Hunter, the winner of yesterday's important game that evened the series at 3 games apiece. Hunter is up and throwing. Dick Williams making sure they nail us down here in the 9th inning. Fastball has popped up foul behind home plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Milner practically standing on the bag at first base. Doesn't want to get picked off. No way is he going to be stealing. They're down by 4. Hahn out on deck. Fingers throws a breaking pitch, but it's blown away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fosse again walks out and now fires the ball back to him, telling him, get the ball over the plate. Don't lose this man. 5-1, Oakland, 9th inning. Fingers looks over, throws the ball, punched out toward left field. On comes Rudy, and he's there. Takes the line drive, and retreating to first base is Milner. There's 1 out as Rudy throws all the way to Tenace at first base. Brody has 1 for 4 in the day and has hit some kind of shots every time he's been up. 1 out in the 9th, and Hahn is up, and Harrelson comes out on deck. Sal Bando walks over to talk to Ray Fosse. And Raleigh fingers. Fosse now tells everybody there's 1 out. Bando still talking. Talking to Green. What's going to happen as he trots back, signaling over to first where they're going to play. Now Green yells back to Bando, and now Green backs up. He was coming in close to the grass, but now backs up to normal double play depth. Fastball, foul of the screen by Hahn. Hahn today is 2 for 3. He struck out swinging at a Holtzman fastball in the 5th, but other than that, he has had base hits. Hunter and Knowles continue to throw. Hahn close stance. Gets a sidearm curveball strike. Fingers drop down and bent across a beautiful curveball for strike 2. And now a streamer goes into the Oakland bullpen and wraps itself around Catfish Hunter. Darrell Knowles helps him get it off. Long streamer of paper. There are streamers out in right center field. Fingers throws, fastball that's too high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. This crowd wants it over. So do the A's. Fastball outside. Hahn almost chased it. It's 2-2. He struck out at just that same kind of outside fastball in the 5th inning. Hahn can run pretty well. Milner fairly well. Ball punched to right field. Base hit. Milner will stop at second base. Hahn gets his 3rd hit of the day. And now Harrelson will come up. And someone will have to swing lest there be a double play for the pitcher. Harrelson walks up in this 5-1 ball game. 2 men are on. Harrelson, by no stretch of the imagination, is known as a long ball hitter. The A's fans getting a little restive now. Out on deck is Ed Kranepool. Yogi Berra not going with sentiment, but going with power and the left-hander against the right-hander. That could change depending on if Dick Williams makes a change. Fingers throws. Harrelson tries to bunt his way on. Over his fingers to pick it up. He throws on to first base. Got him as the runners move up. Harrelson bunting for the base hit. Was thrown out on the fine play by Fingers. And now they're an out away. And Ed Kranepool, the last of the original Mets, signed out of high school in New York at the age of 17 to join that first team, will be the man coming up. The umpire down the left field line retrieved some streamers that were thrown from the stands there. 5-1 our score. Over at third base is Milner. Down at second base is Hahn. Bando and Fosse and Fingers have had something to say to each other. Now Kranepool is coming up. It has been up twice before in this World Series, has failed to hit. The organist begins to play music. The A's fans sense that this might be it. It is Hunter that is throwing most and the hardest in the bullpen. And now, Vic Davalillo is picking up that streamer that's been resting out in right center field for some time. Didn't really notice it because Grody and Hahn were up there for right-handed hitters, and he was over in left center field. Now he's moved to right center and deep, then he noticed it and picked it up. Kranepool is ready. And so is Rollie Fingers. Fastball, too low. Ball 1. The Mets looking for just one more miracle. The A's in their last 2 ball games have looked like the Oakland ball club everybody understood them to be. Good pitching, powerful 320 game winners. All of the A's are up on the front step. There's a strike at the knees. All of the A's, these same A's that fought each other, that fought their owner, all through the season and all through this World Series, now as one unit, are standing on the top step of their dugout, ready just to break into celebration should they win their 2nd World Series in a row. Fingers with a 1-ball, 1 strike. Comes back, it's fouled off, and now Kranepool has a 1-2 count on him. Herb Norrin gets out and waves back his left fielder, while a fan breaks out onto the field in right field and shakes Reggie Jackson's hand, and then with nobody saying to do anything, comes back, said, "I did it," climbs back into the stands. Norrin is trying to get Davalillo's attention. He's way over in right center field and wave him around toward dead center. They don't feel Kranepool is going to pull the ball that much. 1-2 with 2 outs. Garrett on deck. 5-1, Oakland. 2 out in the 9th. Curveball, foul, just barely ticked. It rolls to the screen. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Marty Springstead turns around and holds up his finger, pointing back toward the photographers and fans just off to the left of home plate. Kranepool waits. Fingers has the sign. The pitch is a curveball bounded toward the first baseman, Tenace. He bobbles the ball. Twice he bobbles it. The fans came on thinking it was all over, but it is not. It is 5-2, runners at first and third, and we are still in the game as Garrett steps up. They'll have to clear the fans off. They're shaking and hugging each other as though it's all over. But while they do that and now leave the field, let's pause 30 seconds for station identification. with Ralph Kiner, who is down in the Mets dressing room. This is Jim Simpson. The fans have left the field, but Dick Williams, the manager of the Oakland A's, is walking onto the field. This ball game should be over by now. But Gene Tenace, last year's World Series hero, was in playing superb defense at first base until now, allowed the ball to play him, booted it away, then upped it again. And with the left-hander Garrett coming up, Fingers is going to walk out, and Darrell Knowles runs in. The hand is for Rollie Fingers. He'll pitch 3 in the third inning. Has given up an unearned run, 3 base hits, struck out 2 and walked 1. For Darrell Knowles, this is his 7th World Series game. You can't play in any more than that. It is a series record. Darrell Knowles, out with a bad hand last year, unable to play, sets a series record this year and gets a chance now to shut the door on the New York Mets, who have an unearned run. It is a 5-2 ball game. And with runners at first and third, the only man in the world to hit 2 home runs is the tying run, Wayne Garrett. He will face Darrell Knowles. Garrett today has struck out 3 times in 4 appearances. Teddy Martinez has gone in to run for Cranepool at first base. So it is Hahn over at third, Martinez at first. And Garrett 0 for 4 for the day, 5 for 29 for the series. Facing Knowles, the fastball is in the dirt. They play Garrett, even though he's going against the fast-falling left-hander, way around to the right, still to pull the ball. And now the fans realize, instead of this World Series being over, as it should be, but for the error, one swing of the bat could tie it up. Knowles back, throws a little looper. Campaneris goes back, says, "I got it, that is it!" Are all over the field. The Oakland A's have won their 2nd consecutive World Series championship. The first time that's been done since the Yankees of 62 and 63. And for the first time in the last 7 World Series, one league has won 2 in a row, and that is, of course, the American League. Charles O. Finley being led off now, carrying an Oakland pennant as he heads for the dressing room. The fans are trying to get to the dressing room, and we'll be back for some dressing room talk in just a moment, but now we pause for this message. We are back. And the story of the game, not the series, the game is in the 3rd inning off John Matlock, who in the last 42 and a third innings before this happened had allowed but 1 earned run. Matlock gave up a base hit on an 0-2 count of all things to the pitcher Ken Holtzman, who doubled to left. Campaneris hit the first pitch the other way for a home run, the first home run of the 1973 series for the home run hitting Oakland A's. Now, strange it was hit by Campaneris, who only hit 4 during the regular season. That made it 2-0. Joe Rudy came on and singled to center field, but Bando popped out to Milner at first base. Reggie Jackson hit a 1-1 pitch for the longest home run of the World Series, way over the 375-foot mark out in right center field, and suddenly it was 4-0. And to all intents and purposes, the ball game was over. Campaneris got another run, an unearned run in the 5th inning when he singled, went to second base on the error by Jones, was driven home by Rudy. New York came back to score a run in the 6th inning on the double by Millan, and Staub doubled him home for a 6th RBI to make it 5-1. And then when Milner walked in the 9th inning, he later came around on the error when Cranepool bounced the ball toward Tenace, what should have been the 3rd out of the World Series. Tenace let the ball play was it, and the score became 5-2. 5 runs, 9 hits, and 1 error, with Holtzman the winning pitcher. His lifetime in the World Series is now 3-1. 2 runs, 8 hits, and 1 error for New York, and John Matlock, who was Mr. Everything for the New York Mets all down the stretch through the month of September in the playoffs and in the World Series until now is the loser. And the Mets miracle, well, they'll have to hope that they get another one next year. They had one in 1969. They won this National League's Eastern Division the day after the season ended out in Chicago. Then they went on and took the highly favored Cincinnati Reds in 5 games. They came to the day all even after fighting back, going ahead, then tied at 3 games apiece, and somehow the miracle fizzled out. And the Mets have lost, and the Oakland A's have won, and we'll be back for more color in 1 minute.
Transportation, welfare, ecology, politics, education, the economy. Headlines, newsmakers, and correspondents across the nation, updated every hour. On the international scene, instant service from NBC newsmen on the alert everywhere in the world. All combined in clear, accurate, up-to-the-minute reports on NBC News on the Hour. Plus, hotlines on major national or world developments, bulletins on important events just occurring, urgent reports on breaking news. The voices of newsmakers and reporters. The sounds of news in the making. NBC News gets it when it happens. You get it when it happens any moment of the day. Hear it on radio. Hear it at its very best. Hear it on NBC.
In the dressing room, Tony Kubek is talking to manager Dick Williams. Let's join in.
Yeah, but with Garrett, Raleigh just did a tremendous job. It's a shame to finish it, but this was a club that took all 25 men, and well, we proved it again today. And we played a very fine ball club. I have all the respect, and our players have all the respect in the world for Yogi Berra and his great ball club. And it was a tremendous battle, and we'd play 101 games, and one of us would win 50, and the other one would win 51.
Kenny Holtzman started the ball game for you. He gave you a good, tough 5 innings, which I think is what you expected, wasn't it?
This is what we were hoping for, and Kenny let it all hang out, Tony, and he just did a tremendous job.
Raleigh figures, came right in, came up with a big pitching for you again.
He's been excellent all year. Darrell Knowles also, and it's just a complete team effort all the way.
Dick, congratulations. I know it's a lot harder to repeat the second time around, and you did a whale of a job.
Thank you.
2 times world champions. Let's get Joe Rudy up here, Marty.
All right, Tony, and someone pull Reggie Jackson over here, too, just a minute. Here is the finest left fielder in the game today, certainly if not the finest, one of the best. Joe Rudy, another great World Series. It seems like that the World Classic brings it out of him.
Monty, I think he really get up for those games. Anybody wouldn't get up for him and flew off, but it was just super. The Mets played a great series and had fantastic pitching, and our back against the wall. We came back from New York, and I know everybody was down. We went out there yesterday and busted our ass and came out okay.
Joe, this getting back home, this Oakland crowd today looked to be and sounded to be from the press box just as great as any crowd could ever be.
It was yesterday and today both, especially yesterday. It really got the guys up. We went out there and everybody was feeling down. The crowd was really cheering for us, and it really got the adrenaline going. It made me feel great.
Joe, you did a great job. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mike.
2 World Championships in a row. There's Darrell Knowles and Reggie Jackson. Reggie, come here just a minute. I tell you what, this fellow, we've talked about playing under duress. I don't think anybody knows very much about what Reggie Jackson has been playing under the last few weeks. Reggie, I can announce to you right now about one thing that really is going to be something. You have been chosen the most valuable player of the 1973 World Series. For that, Reggie, you'll receive a 1974 Dodge Dart, and I know you're going to be traveling around in pride. Now, Reggie, there's something else that nobody has known anything about except a few people and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And Reggie said a long time ago, about 3 weeks ago, there's going to come a time when I want to tell the story. Reggie, this is it right now. Would you like to tell the story?
Well, Monty, I was at home one afternoon, and I was tired as hell. I was trying to get some rest, and I was talking on the phone, and I get an interruption in the phone call, and it's Finley. And he told me, he said, I want you to go to the ballpark right now. He said, Dick Williams is there, and there are 2 FBI agents. And I said to myself, what have I done? I haven't missed any alimony payments. I don't sell dope. I haven't honked at any cops. I haven't done anything wrong. And so I got dressed as fast as I could, and I went out to the stadium, and Dick was there, and he was kind of looking mad, and I was a little bit afraid. We were in Mr. Finley's office, and the 2 FBI agents were there, and they told me that they had gotten a letter from a group called the Weathermen, so-called the Weathermen, and the letter was a threat on my life. It said, if Reggie Jackson plays in the playoffs, in the 1973 playoffs of the World Series, it will be the last time he ever does anything. And we just took precautions, and the FBI people were great. I had an escort in Baltimore. I had an escort to and from the ballpark. In New York, everything was great. I wasn't worried at any time. But, you know, now's the time to tell the story. But now let's talk about baseball.
Absolutely, Reggie. The letter did come to us. Reggie Jackson, Most Valuable Player Award in the World Series. Congratulations to you.
Well, thanks a lot. I'd just like to say that I feel like I'm accepting the award for Raleigh. Any one of 4 guys could have got it. Raleigh Fingers, Joe Rudy, Bert Campaneris, Darren Johnson appeared in 7 straight games, and I was just enough to be in the right spot at the right time, I guess. So I'm accepting it as 1 out of 5. And another thing I want to say is the last 2 days, we played hardball, we played baseball, and the man on my left taught me how. He didn't give me any pep talks. He didn't say, you got to do this, you got to do that. He didn't say, your back is to the wall. It's understood. Dick Williams taught me how to get ready for the last 2 baseball games. I owe him a hell of a lot for it. I'm sorry that he's leaving. I wish the hell he wasn't, but I understand.
Reggie, thank you very much. Okay, let me talk to Darrell Knowles over here. Darrell, how does it feel to be a World Series record holder being in 7 games out of 7?
Monty, I'll tell you this, I didn't want any part of that game today. I'm going to kill Gino when I get out of there because the man makes that error, you know, but I tell you, it's great to be in a World Series. I didn't get to play last year. I never dreamed I'd get in 7 ball games, and I'm just happy as heck that we won it and that I was able to pitch.
Well, Darrell, you got one of the biggest outs the World Series had ever seen when you got Rusty Staub yesterday. Congratulations. I was pulling for you because you didn't get in last year.
Well, thank you, Monty. It's a super thrill, believe me.
Thank you, Darrell Knowles. Here's Raleigh Fingers, whose mustache has become one of the most famous, but his arm is the thing that has made it famous, really. Raleigh, 6 more of them this year. How do you feel now? Ready for a long rest?
Yes, sir. I'll tell you, I'm going to take a big winter off. I got tired in the 9th inning here, but they'll pick me up.
Were you a little unhappy to come out of there, or do you want to get that last out?
I'd like to stay in and got the last out, but I know that Dick wanted to go out there and get him because with a left-hander, especially a guy like Gary who can hit the ball out of the ballpark, I really didn't have my good velocity in the last inning, and I was throwing the ball where I wanted to, but I just didn't have a good velocity, and there's a good chance he might have hit one out on me. So I think a left-hander situation was good one there.
Raleigh, nice job. Congratulations to you. Sal Bando, as captain of this team, how do you feel repeating for the first time any team's repeated since '61?
Well, Monty, and actually it's a great feeling, and I still don't think the people out there have really seen how good we can really play. We had a couple adversities facing us in this series, and the way we played only shows how good we can really be.
Anything specially done by you players the last couple of days to come back and really become the Oakland A's championship team and sort of put it together again?
Well, I think at the beginning we were just happy to be here because it was 2 years in a row, and then when they were out there leading us, we said, gentlemen, we cannot let them beat us, and we got to go out there and show them we're the better ball club, and I think we just put it in high gear those last 2 games.
Raleigh, the Mets are a mighty good ball club, aren't they?
They sure are. They've got excellent pitching, good defense, and it's a good thing that Campy and Reggie got a hold of a couple of legs.
Thank you, Sal, very much. Tony Kubek is over here now. He's got the winning pitcher of today's ball game. He won again last year. Kenny, winning 2 games in a World Series has got to be one of the top thrills a pitcher can have.
Yeah, it was a thrill, Monty. I was a little worried last night, and a little worried waiting for the game to start, and when I went out there, I just tried to go as long as hard as I can. I'm just tickled to death the way things came out.
You tell me that on day of a ball game that you're just almost, nobody can talk with you. You get back and concentrate and really get ready for the ball game.
Yeah, I try to concentrate starting the night before, and Catfish pitched such a great game Saturday that I just concentrated right from the 3rd out of the 9th about how I was going to pitch today.
Kenny, did you have any particular pitch working today? You started throwing a few more curveballs, it looks like, early.
Right, I think I just had good stuff today, and I was throwing pretty hard, and I had fairly good control, and I think I threw a couple of good curveballs and even got a couple strikeouts.
Would you like to talk about your hitting?
Yeah, I sure would.
You got that double on left field line.